right, everyone. This meeting is called to order here at 7:22 p.m. Quickly, I wanted to point out some new aspects to our meeting. First, our meeting is being live streamed via Facebook Live in the history of West Valley Water District. We've never had our meetings open to the public, whether that are sitting at home. And so we'd like to say hi, everybody. Additionally, our meeting will be available via YouTube for individuals to be able to watch. And we wanted to let you all know this is something that was very important to the public, that we operate in transparency, and hopefully you see that this is our first step in making sure that we're available and open to the public. So all your comments are going to be here on recordings this evening. The next order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Crowther, Vice President Crowther, we're willing to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the next item up is our opening prayer. Is Pastor Gabriel Araya here from Casa del Rey here in the city of Rialto.
In the name of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, we ask today for the presence and guidance of the Holy Spirit over the people that are here today to discuss and take decisions that will benefit our cities. Lord, please open our minds and give them wisdom. Take them in your hands and bless them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Araya. All right. Next order is roll call. The board members by Board Secretary Crystal Escalera.
Director Dr. Michael Taylor.
That's good. Here.
Director Greg Young.
Present.
Director Dr. Clifford Young.
Present.
Vice President Kyle Crowther.
Here.
President Channing Hawkins.
Present. Okay. Next up, I'd like to request to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. First, second. All right, no dissension. Do we need to take a vote if we're all in consensus?
Who was the motion?
The motion, he made the motion. Did we have a second, Mr.?
I seconded.
Okay. All right.
Director Dr. Michael Taylor.
Yes.
Director Greg Young.
Yes.
Director Dr. Clifford Young.
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther.
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins.
Yes. So next up is presentations. If you could, Naseem Farouk, our Public Information Officer, can you make a statement regarding our gift and toy drive?
Good evening, board members, and good evening, ratepayers and members of the public. Thank you so much for attending here today. This year, we went ahead and continued our annual holiday toy drive. This is in partnership with Children's Fund, a nonprofit established by the County of San Bernardino, and a partnership with Children's Network here in the county. This year is our second year, and tonight we have Betty Chambers, Director of Programs from Children's Fund. And as she's walking up here, first let me go ahead and share that toys and different items that were included within the toy drive came from board members, staff, some of our vendors here that we operate with. So we definitely want to express our thank you and our gratitude to those people, those individuals that came in, stepped up, and were able to provide to some of the most vulnerable children in our community. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and welcome Betty Chambers.
Hello all. Thank you. I know the meeting's running late, so I'm not going to keep everyone. I just want to say thank you for taking the time to care about others during this season It's very important that we think about children in our communities that don't have someone to support them. These children, children within our county, we have 30% poverty in our county for children. And by no fault of their own, they're living in situations that they may not receive a holiday gift. So by you taking the time and caring about these children and us working together, it supports them during the holiday season. So I just want to say, take the time and think about what you're grateful for. Your life is somewhat different from others, and we just need to make sure that we are giving continually throughout the year and during the holiday season. So I just want to say thank you.
Board members, do you guys mind coming down for a quick photo with Betty?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
If you don't mind just standing behind the box of the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we gotta have some, we don't wanna stand in front because then the picture won't be cute anymore.
This one looks like it's falling over.
Right.
So if you don't mind just holding them out.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
A little bit. All right, here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Again, thank you, Ms. Chambers, for your work and dedication in the community. I'll also be remiss I wanted to thank the board members, the staff again for heeding the call. I think we had a meeting just the other day and now we got boxes full of stuff. And I also want to thank the members of my union, Island Local 777, for their contribution to the toy drive. Next up, can we have the board secretary read the read the public participation. There is a slight change in how we're going to do public participation and allow people to speak individually on items as they come. But he's going to read the statement regarding public participation.
Thank you, President Hawkins. Any person wishing to speak to the board of directors on matters listed or not listed on the agenda within its jurisdiction is asked to complete a speaker card and submit it to the district clerk. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Under the State of California Brown Act, the Board of Directors is prohibited from discussing or taking action on any item not listed on the posted agenda. Comments related to notice public hearings and business matters will be heard during the occurrence of the item. Public communication is the time for anyone to address the board on an agenda item or anything under the jurisdiction of the district. No person will be allowed to make comments at any other time of the meeting except if there is a public hearing. Also, please remember that no disruptions from the crowd will be tolerated. If someone disrupts the meeting, they will be removed.
Okay, I just have one question here regarding the speaker cards. Mr. Anthony Butcher-Riza, you put that it was an item on the agenda and it said hiring. So I'm not sure which item that's speaking to.
Item
Number 10?
Item 10 and 17.
Okay, thank you. All right. Oh, actually, we take public comment now, right? And so all the other speakers that are listed, they all wrote that they are speaking to an item not listed on the agenda. So first up, in no particular order, is Carl Chrisman. Okay.
Thank you. My name is Carl Chrisman. I'm here about a legal issue. My father worked here in 2018. He went on administrative leave on June 14th, and then on I have a contract here signed by Dr. Clifford Young and my father, Robert Christman, saying that effective July 1st, he agreed to an appointment to the Water District to be the assistant finance, to work as assistant finance. He was working here according to this contract. He passed away in October of that year. My mother went to file for life insurance, and then when they called, the life insurance called here, they were told that he was on leave still. So the life insurance was not accepted. According to this contract, it says that he should have life insurance, all other benefits, including medical care and life insurance. And now I'm being told that he wasn't working here. So that means one of two things. Either the information that was given to the life insurance company was incorrect, meaning that she would not get any anything from that, or it means that this contract is not being abided by because he was promised life insurance and he apparently did not have that at the time of his death. I'm just trying to make sure my mother is taken care of, and I'm not sure what to do here. She doesn't have the money to hire lawyers and get involved. I would just ask that the board do something to uphold the contract that was signed. I have copies if anyone needs, although I would assume that you guys have that as well. Thank you for your time.
We can't make a decision regarding that matter, but if you leave the documents with the secretary, we'll
Okay, thank you.
review those.
Can we put it on a closed session at our next meeting? It's a legal matter.
After our legal counsel has the opportunity to review the item, we'll make a determination. I'm not precluding that we can. I just want to get an actual opinion regarding what it is we're dealing with. I'm just literally hearing about it right now, and I do want to understand what this document is and what we have to do to respond. However, Board Member Young, your request is duly noted. Next up, Dr. June Hayes from the San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District.
June Hayes, San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District. I have two things to say this evening. The first is, as many of you know, our general manager, Doug Hendrick, is retiring effective December 30th. And in case you don't read the newspapers, we have appointed a new director, our in-house biologist, Heather Dyer, very competent, very eager, very qualified, has been appointed as our next general manager effective December 31st. The second thing is from all of us at Valley District to all of you and your ratepayers and everybody at West Valley. We wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, and a happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joan. Please give Ms. Dyer our saying we are congratulating her for her promotion. I'm sure it is well deserved. Next speaker is Gil Navarro, San Bernardino Municipal Valley Water District member. Gil Navarro.
Thank you. Good evening, Board President, Board members. President Hawkins, I did attend your affirmation of your election December 5th, or swearing in. I was in the Aqua Conference, San Diego. But I do want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
Saying that I was at the Aqua Conference, I also brought the information back to share with all of you. I think you all have a copy in front of you. First of all, this was a workshop called Getting the Lead Out. In this document, it tells you that of all the schools tested in the state of California, there's only 4% of them that had any kind of lead that was taken care of. But the new law, there's not a page number on here, effective January 1st, is the fact that they're going to require all daycare centers in California to test for lead. And must test the drinking water for lead between January 1st, 2020 and January 1st, 2023. And then they have to do it every 5 years after the initial testing. They have to submit the results electronically to the State Water Regional Control Board, and the control board will post all the test results. The daycare centers must take action if results are elevated. Unfortunately, they have to pay for the testing and the correction of any suspected lead that comes up. Now, I'm not saying this is a great opportunity for retailers in California, but it may something you may want to consider offering your services for the testing, and I don't know what the cost is, whether they go out to a private industry or their local retailer, but it may be something you want to look into. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Navarro. The presentation that you presented, as well as your recommendation, I want to direct the general manager to please take note of that and review it, and then give me a briefing regarding those two items. Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Don Griggs of the West Valley Ratepayers Association. Not at all. How you doing, Mr. Brown?
Can I speak for Mr. Brown first, if you don't mind?
Yes, being that we don't. Okay, please move your mic up so we can hear you. But yes, we will accommodate Mr. Brown. We will accommodate Mr. Brown.
Okay, thank you very much. From Hardy Brown, publisher, emeritus, Voice News. Who is telling the truth? In a recent article in The Sun by Joe Nelson, he quoted Clifford Young, attorney Rachel Fissett, as saying the district sent the case to the district attorney's office and the DA did not respond, so they closed the case. She went on to say the general manager, Robert Christman, approved the $1,897 tab, thus leaving Clifford in the clear. Now, this is not what the district attorney, Jason Anderson, told Mr. Don Griggs in a public meeting at a COPE meeting, which is on videotape. The district attorney told Mr. Griggs that Friday afternoon, after the article was printed, the article was not accurate. Both of them said it was inappropriate for them to comment on any ongoing investigation case. In my opinion, the statement is false and misleading because the general manager does not have the authority or responsibility to approve a board of directors political campaign celebration dinner to thank his political staff workers. So, Clifford's lawyer is acting like the president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. Just say something. This is what Clifford did the last time and did not tell us he had to pay back the money to the district. Let me offer you a suggestion by a major consensus of the board. Direct the president to contact the DA to verify the open or closed status of the case and report back to you. Let me commend Clifford Young for bringing this well-qualified and knowledgeable person to our district, even though Clifford has turned on Clarence. Clifford has a history of turning on people, so don't feel bad, Clarence. He does that to people he cannot control to do his legal work or deeds. Clifford turned on Matthew Litchfield, turned on Karen Lowe, Shanae Smith, Marie Ricci, Robert Christman, Linda Gonzalez, Don Olinger, Michael Taylor, Kyle Broder, Robert Taboya, the law firms of Clifton, Albright, Yee, Smith, and Gresham, Salvage, Nolan, Tyler, Martin, Kaufman, and Robert Catherman. So, who is next? My professional advice to Mr. Mansell is do not resign. This is what those political appointed staffers want you to do, so they can have carte blanche to the ratepayers' money. Charlie Brown. Thank you.
Okay. Is that the end of,
End of Mr. Brown's comment.
yes, okay.
Okay, I got a lot to say, probably won't be able to say it in 3 minutes, but I'll do my best. I got two hats I'm wearing tonight. One as a ratepayer, of course, I'll always wear that hat. And I come to you as a ratepayer for over 40 years. I spent as a ratepayer with I'm one of the 82,000 people that you're paying out there. I'm paying your salaries, I should say, as a ratepayer. I started because there are three major concerns I have here as a ratepayer. That is, I look for clean and safe water, a fair and responsible board of directors, and where, what, and how my money is being spent. Two of those three concerns, that's why Mr. Brown and I have been here for the past 2 years straight. We have attended every board meeting for the past 2 years straight. If I haven't been here, Mr. Brown has been here. I missed maybe 3 or 4 for other reasons, and he has as well, but I've been here when he hasn't been. So we know what's going on the board, and that's one of the reasons that we're here. There are problems, I understand, with employees here. As ratepayers, I can't honestly say that that's something that we do, that we're overly concerned. My concern, I just gave you my 3 concerns as a ratepayer. I think there's problems that are big problems here. I think your human resources and your board of directors should handle some of those problems. All I can give is an opinion. In my opinion, as some of you know, the past 2 years, and Harley's opinion, are not about what's going on here. It's about that board, and that's our concern right at this point. With that said, let me put on my other hat. Some of you don't know me as a community activist. I've been one for over 50 years. I've been in this community, and I have been a past activist in a lot of different circumstances. But let me tell you something. There's an old African proverb. It says you can't test the water by jumping in with both feet. And that's the way I feel. There's a lot going on here, and I know I can't take the time to tell you all about it, but, you know, in my opinion, the people who hate like they do not stop hating. They just hide until it becomes fashionable to come out in the open. But the current climate in Washington has spread to our community. I bring this up in response to the recent no confidence letter by the managers in an article of the Sun about Mr. Mansell. I just want to say, Mr. Mansell, I've been in your shoes. I've been there. I was the first black manager for Southern California Edison Company 40 years ago. Me and this man here fought those battles. I was told I couldn't do anything. I had employees against me. There's writing letters on me. Everything happened to me as an employee. But I beat the system because we fought it. And we were able to beat it. And I wound up managing 3 different offices. But I had a good manager. His name, the district manager named Alan Yahtzee. And Mr. Taylor, and some of you know who Mr. Yahtzee's nephew is. He got in that room. He told every manager there, Don Griggs is managing the downtown office. He has second business office in the system. I don't want nobody talking to him or telling him what to do.
By Mr. Griggs.
Until they see me. I know my time is up, and I had so much more to say.
Griggs, just wrap up. You get 5 seconds to wrap up.
I won't give enough time, but
okay.
I just want to say that of the 16 managers that signed off, the problems I get, I just left a meeting in the community. They asked me just 2 questions, and I like to know those questions. They want to know, in 67 years, how many managers you have that look like me in 67 years? Number 1. Okay, and number 2, the 16 managers that signed, how many of them look like me?
Thank you, Mr. Griggs. We appreciate you.
Not enough, but thank you. Anybody want to see me afterwards? I got a lot to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Mr. Paul Scott.
Good evening, distinguished board, President Hawkins, and audience. I stand here today just to talk about something that happened at the last meeting. And it was my observation of the reaction of the audience and comments afterwards. I can't speak for them, all I can do is speak for myself. I was raised by a mother and a grandmother. And over the years, I've had many teachers, mentors, and but the foundation that they laid was on top of what the foundation that those two women laid. So I have utmost respect for women, one of which is going to be having her 95th Christmas with us in next week. To have two public officials come in at the meeting last week, 2 weeks ago, to in official capacity to officiate over the induction of the Vice President Crowder and the new board member, which is now President Hawkins. They're here in front of their constituency and in front of their members of their community. To have them in that official capacity in a meeting like this to be referred to as Aquanetta and Debbie, I felt was extremely disrespectful and not giving them the respect that they deserve as members of this community and leaders in this community who have gained the respect of everybody in this community. So I think you and your position should understand that they need to have that respect. And I just don't want that to happen again. I just want to bring that to your attention. So thank you very much. And happy Christmas to everybody.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Scott. And just one small comment about that. In our official capacities, this group of elected officials here are very endearing, and we respect both the mayors of Fontana, Mayor Aquanetta Warren, as well as Mayor Rialto, my mayor, Mayor Deborah Robertson. And if anybody made an informal reference to her, to either one of those individuals, it's because of the endearing relationship that various members of the board have. But it is duly noted regarding making sure that those officials in their official capacity are given their official title. So I do understand, we do understand that. Any other member want to make a comment of that?
Thank you, President. I don't know if it was me. If it was me, I apologize for that. But I think I referred to both of them as the mayor from the city of Rialto, Debbie Robertson, and Mayor Aquanetta Warren. I know both of them personally, so you may have heard me when I was standing next to them call them Debbie or Aquanetta. But
Can I say something? It was during the meeting. It wasn't personal interaction. And anybody, before you talk about personal relationship, anyone who knows Mayor Robinson can tell you that one thing, she does not like to be called Debbie, even by her family members or close friends. So I just don't feel that was appropriate. I mean, even Deborah would not have been appropriate in this capacity. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. In their capacity, they deserve the respect. They've done tremendous things for this community, for this city, and for the neighboring city of Fontana, and for all the community members. And we hold them in the highest regard, and I think that you should too reflect that in regard to us.
well, I do, and thank you for your comment.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Scott. It is duly noted. It is. Next up is Mr. Al Vogler.
Good evening, Board. I'm Al Vogler. I last attended a West Valley Water Board meeting on November 21st, 2019. At that time, the Board, through Dr. Clifford Young, directed your manager, Mr. Mansell, to communicate with me to determine the nature of the documents regarding the hire of Mr. Larry Lawrence. As of today, Mr. Mansell has not contacted me. There are documents that tend to indicate Mr. Lawrence was hired. Failure to respond or to fulfill requests of the public is habitual for West Valley Water. As of today, the public records requests I've made have not been completed, 2 months old. I believe that you are in violation. I am again so requesting. Your attorney, Mr. Tafoya, is responsible for those requests, and although he had enough time to berate me in writing, he has failed to deliver documentation. Despite my having expressed the same thought to the board in the past, you have said nothing about the issue during the board meetings that I have attended. Do you feel that Mr. Tafoya is performing his duties professionally? You must, or you would not currently be paying him large sums of money. I've asked the board to place an item on the agenda to discuss the termination of Mr. Brosowski and to so inform me. You have not. I am again so requesting. Are you aware that Mr. Brosowski and his associates may have been involved in election tampering? So it is rumored. I've also asked the board to place the names of your directors on the public meeting agendas. You have not and have failed to contact me. Further, I've asked that you print the agency phone number on the agenda to assist the public in contacting you. No action, comment, or contact by you. I strongly urge those members of this board who have the potential to stop unethical spending and hiring to do so. A first step in that direction would be to terminate Mr. Brosowski and to hire someone, only if necessary, who does not have potential conflicts of interest. Might I remind you that West Valley Water District claims to be dedicated to transparency. I have a question for the board. I don't know if you can answer that now. In the past, it's been my understanding that you do not allow the public to talk during agendized items. I'm asking that question again tonight. Do you allow the public to talk during agendized items, or may they only talk during public comments?
Finish your comments, we'll respond.
I'm done, thank you.
Oh, well, the board secretary, what is the new policy regarding agendized items?
We've discussed it, and the public will be allowed to speak on items as they occur on the agenda.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear everything she said when I was seated in the back. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
That is the new policy.
I see a camera. I hope that when you film the meetings, you allow members of the public like myself to come down here and buy a DVD recording of the meeting. I can't use the computer because I have Frontier Communications.
I can't comment on everything but that last thing. I know, I can say this, we are a work in progress for the last, 13 days we've been on the job as a board. We've come together and have committed ourselves to getting this done in the quickest and most expeditious manner. I don't even know if we worked out our DVD policy yet, but you are duly noted. This will at least be on YouTube. I don't know if you need a TV to do it, but we'll be there.
Thank you.
Mr. Vogler, if I can just make one comment real quick. Just so you know, regarding your concern about being able to speak during public items, on the card, there is a box that says item on the agenda. So when you fill it out to give to Ms. Escalera, make sure you mark accordingly whether it's something you want to talk about off the agenda.
I'm glad to hear that, because in the past you just allowed me to speak on agendized items.
I thought that the last time that you spoke, we answered the question regarding Larry Lodge. Does he work for us? Did you hear that? Larry Lodge does not work for the district. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Okay.
It answers it, but I got no comment or no call as you directed the manager to get in touch with me.
He just answered your question.
Yes, so.
He does not work for the district.
Okay, all right, so, Mr. Vogel, we do appreciate your comments this evening, and hopefully you'll make comments in the future. Thank you. With that being said, we are now moving for consideration of, I'm requesting, unless there are no other cards for public comment, so at this time, I am requesting to entertain a motion for the adoption of the consent calendar. We must now want a motion to close the, okay. We are now closing public communication. And I am now requesting to entertain a motion for the adoption of the consent calendar as listed.
Mr. President, I'll make the motion with corrections.
Okay. Board Member Young?
I made the motion with corrections.
What are the corrections?
Need a second.
Okay, we haven't.
Which is?
Just there's a factual correction on item number 3. If you look on page 20, it has the wrong approved result for the selection of Mr. Hawkins as president. I just wanted to be corrected for the record.
Okay.
It shows 3-0, but it was actually 4-0 with 1 abstention.
Mr. President, I have at least 3 questions on the cash cash disbursement, report, so I'm requesting that that be set aside.
Which,
Item
number 4?
number 6.
6? Okay. Please, and if anyone else has any items to close, please state the number.
Therefore, I move the, acceptance of the report, except item number 6.
Okay, any other,
As amended.
as amended, any other, okay? Unless there's any other, I also want to pull item number 8, there's a presentation. I'd like to adopt the consent, I'd like the motion to adopt the consent calendar minus item number 6 and number 8.
Second.
And there's a correction, correct?
And a correction as amended by, to item number 3.
Second.
All right, being properly moved and seconded, we now call for a vote.
Director Dr. Michael Taylor?
Yes.
Director Greg Young?
Yes.
Director Dr. Clifford Young?
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes. Okay. Now, any questions regarding number 6?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm directing this, I have 2 questions. I'm directing this to the general manager. I need some at least explanation. On page number 41 of your report. 41? Yeah. Page 41 of the package.
In the package.
List, and this refers to an item that's coming up later. You list that that you pay MB Chain Consultant $30,208. Could you tell me what that was for and under what contract?
This payment was under her 1-year contract, which expired November 5th, and the payment was for everything during the period that the contract was in effect, and it was for her services related to the audits. So she...
This says between 11/21/19 and 12/5/19. Was she under contract during that period of time?
She was not on a contract. That's the issue date of the check. It's not the date of service.
So you're saying that this $30,000 was paying for a prior period of time?
Prior to November 5th.
So why do we have these dates on here?
Well, the dates are the dates of the check. This is a disbursement report showing what day checks were issued.
But it has 2 dates. It says 11/21/19 and then 12/5/19.
At the top, it says issue.
Yes. As he explained, issue and delivery date.
This is when this firm was under contract?
No. The contract was over, but a payment was remaining. We made the payment. And so you have your issue date and your delivery date.
All right. Then I have, let's find it. Another payment to LA Safety Company, Public Safety Company, let me find it. Can't find it right now. Oh. I'll make a note and ask it later. I don't want to hold up time because I can't find my tab.
Okay, moving on to number 8, presentation.
Yes, Jeremiah Brosowski will make a presentation.
Sorry, President Hawkins?
Still need to vote on that.
Okay,
Item
wait,
6.
6.
And we're gonna need a motion on number 6.
I thought, board member asked to be able to come back.
Oh, he's gonna come back and ask a question later? But,
Yes.
Yeah, I think for the item number 6, you still need a motion if you're going to approve that. Is that what you wanted to do, or you didn't want to do that?
Did you want to approve it right now, or you wanted to?
Ask a question.
Yeah, so is there, are you okay moving the item, or do you want to come back to that?
Right.
I'm okay moving the item, I'm looking for another item.
Okay, all right. So, with that being said, do we have a motion?
I'll second
Okay.
What is the motion?
I moved it.
Okay, well, can you repeat the motion, Dr. Young?
I move approval of item number 6.
Okay,
it, and I'll second it.
all right, it's been moved and seconded. Secretary Escalera?
Director Dr. Michael Taylor,
Yes.
Dr. Greg Young,
Yes.
Director Dr. Clifford Young,
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther,
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins.
Yes. All right, now moving on to item number 8.
Yeah, so I actually requested this item be pulled because I wanted to kind of give an informational update. I know staff has worked hard on this and went over the billing process and separation. Obviously, this is a state mandate, so there's no vote on it. It's more of an informational item. And it was included in your packet, but basically we're doing bill messaging on this, and it's pushing the due date to 60 days now. Currently, we're at 21 days, where you would be past due if you didn't pay for 21 days. Now, the state has pushed it out to 60 days, but obviously we will notice 7 business days before that as required by law. But notification methods have changed a little bit, so we're still going to notify people twice, and we're going to go through with a FedEx process to verify the notification. I just wanted to make this item to be transparent to the board and let you guys know that there may be changes with customer service, and I wanted to make you guys aware of it. And if you guys had any other questions as we go through the process, I definitely would like to include the board in how these changes come about.
Mr. Portowski, will this be published on the district's website for our customers to be aware of the change?
Yes, so this will also be in a bill message, and it'll also be listed on our social medias and on the district website.
Thank you.
Mr. Brzezowski, are we also, I know that the bills can be paid in the customer service as well in community-based locations? Is there going to be flyers or other information in those locations giving them opportunity to learn more about the new changes?
So we actually plan with Public Affairs to have a flyer program seated at each place where they are at. Now, obviously, we don't want to encourage people that, hey, you can pay 60 days now, but we do want to include the information, but in an adequate way, which is why I included in your summary, I included an example of what the bill message would look like.
Okay. And just making sure that we have a significant population of folks who are bilingual and speak other languages, and some of the material is going to be in that language so they can be able to understand the new changes as well.
Absolutely, like we talked about in the committee, everything is included in those. But I just more so wanted to include this item to be transparent to you guys, but also to let you know that staff, this is going to, besides the Tyler implementation, the implementation of this and the pushback is taking a lot of staff time in billing and customer service. So I want to recognize those staff members for the hard work that they're doing also.
Thank you. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we receive and file item number 8.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Second, Dr. Young. All right, Secretary Escalera?
Dr. Michael Taylor,
Yes.
Dr. Greg Young,
Yes.
Dr. Clifford Young,
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther,
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins.
Yes. All right, being concluding all the consent items, now we move on to business matters. First, we start with item number 9.
Mr. President, I move item number 9 for approval.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? Well, I've got a few comments I'm gonna make.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this particular item, actually, I'm asking the board secretary, can you read the requisite resolution 2019-26?
Apologies. Yes, let me pull this up. This is going to be a resolution of the Board of Directors of the West Valley Water District approving participation of the Special District Leadership Platinum Level District Distinction Accreditation to improve upon the areas of governance, board conduct, fiscal responsibility, and transparency.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that the public really understands that one of the commitment that myself as well as all my colleagues, especially Vice President Crowther, is that we realize that transparency and operating within the best practices is absolutely necessary in order for us to turn into embark on a new era, and this is one of many steps. We will be coming back to you as far as formulating our plan. I am also directing the general manager to put together a report so we can begin our steps to make sure that we comply and receive this standard. And so being that this motion has been moved and properly seconded, unless there's any other discussion, let's call for the vote.
Director Dr. Michael Taylor,
Yes.
Director Greg Young,
Yes.
Director Dr. Clifford Young,
Yes.
Vice President Carl Crowther,
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins.
Yes. All right, moving on to item number 10. We're actually going to table this item. Is there any motion to table item?
So moved.
I would like for the general manager to announce the instructions that the board gave him on this item.
I think the attorney, that's part of closed session that you have to present. Is that not correct?
Report out.
No, anything that was said in closed session, of course, can't be brought out here. But of course, the board can give direction in open session, but not anything that was said in there. But you can give direction in open session, however you
Okay,
like.
well, hold on. First, before we pull the item, before we pull the item now, work with us. We're getting used to being able to allow people to comment on the items. Now, we have Butcher Riser here who wants to comment on this particular item.
Actually, I want to comment on several items and I didn't know you were going to change your rules tonight, so I'm just going to shoot from the hip. I would have done it earlier. I was going to commend you on item number 10 for an agency that's overstaffed. If you look at other agencies around the area with the number of services you have, this agency is overstaffed. Then I was going to comment on, when I left here, there were 56 employees, there are 90 employees now. That's in 5 years, and you've added 2,000 services. There's something wrong with that picture, excuse me. Then I was gonna wonder why you're gonna do a temporary labor when you're gonna have a hold on new hires. So that was item number 17. I was also going to ask you about item number 20. Is this an attorney that you're paying almost $50,000 to for a year? Who is he representing?
6 months.
The whole board, or one board member, or 2 board members? I'm curious what's going on there. Almost $250,000. Are those attorneys? I guess they are, huh? Nobody knows. You just pay the bills and you don't ask. And then the next one down is Albright, Yee, and Smith. I believe those are attorneys also, $150,000. When is this going to stop? You know, it's coming out of all of our pockets. It's ridiculous. Then finally, I want to chastise you for your closed session. How rude and disrespectful to all these people in this audience to do that. Most agencies have their meeting. If they have a closed session at the first, they stop it when they say they are. They start their meeting, then they can go back into closed session. Either that or put your closed session at the end of the meeting. This is ridiculous to have these people sitting around here. You know what? If they want to sit and wait till you get done and he comes out and say, we didn't do anything in closed session, that's their business. But it's ridiculous to have people sitting around here like that. So that's my chastising. I'd also like to commend all the employees. Thank you, thank you, thank you for bringing out the mess that's at this district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Reilly. Now, do we have a motion to table this item? Number 10?
I made a request on number 10.
Yes, we will give him direction in lieu of, we're going to table this item because the language for the resolution has to be worked on. However, we are going to give him direction regarding what we want in the interim.
Is that your motion, Mr. President, to table it?
Yes.
I'll second
Okay, all right. So, it's been moved and seconded. Can we, call for a vote?
Director Dr. Michael Taylor?
it. Yes.
Director Greg Young?
Yes.
Director Dr. Clifford Young?
I'm abstaining till I hear.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes. Now, we are moving to give direction to the general manager. The direction is, on a temporary basis, until we are to come back and formally adopt our resolution. There will be a freeze, a hiring freeze, all new hires, promotions, transfers, and as well as pay increases. The only pay increases that are excluded are merit-based increases that come as a part of the yearly annual review process until we are able to address our resolution, and then secondarily concerns with where we are with the human resource practices.
I move that instructions to the general manager.
Yes, that instruction is to the general manager.
I need a second on that.
I'll second
Okay.
Clerk, we need to make sure that the clerk has it.
Yes, and just to clarify, the motion again was the stated comment.
Stated, yes, that there is a hiring freeze.
On new hires, promotions, transfers, pay increases with exception of merit increases until the resolution can be further worked on.
Yes, and
Missing anything
right.
else in regards to the,
If necessary, the general manager can appeal to the board regarding critical need items.
okay. The motion was put forth by Dr. Young, second by Director Dr. Taylor.
Can I ask a technical question of legal counsel? Since we tabled the item, can we take a vote on the direction in this case legally?
Since you tabled the item, normally that would end discussion and would end any further action on the item.
But as far as giving direction,
Yeah, usually you would do that before you table the item. You give that direction while you still have the agenda item on. You can bring the agenda item back right now and then give that direction and then table it again if you like.
okay,
It's a formality.
okay. Yes, so let's have a motion to bring the agenda item back.
it. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay,
Guess we should have done this.
now we're back on 10.
Director Dr. Michael Taylor,
Yes.
Director Greg Young,
Yes.
Director Dr. Clifford Young,
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther,
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins.
Yes,
So now do we make the motion to table it with the instructions?
yes, second.
Okay.
Okay, the motion put forth by Director Greg Young, second by President Channing Hawkins.
Sorry, folks.
Director Dr. Michael Taylor,
Yes.
Director Greg Young,
Yes.
Director Dr. Clifford Young,
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther,
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins.
Yes. Moving on to item number 11, a request for a proposal for recruitment of the vacant assistant general manager position.
President Hawkins, I would like to bring to your attention that you had instructed me to change proposal to qualifications. However, it did not save in our program. So that is an error. It should read a request for qualifications for the recruitment of the vacant AGM position.
Okay, do we have to amend it as such?
I had a technical question.
Okay.
Because there was no staff report for this item, so I'm not quite sure how we're taking action on something that hasn't been provided.
At this time, there is no staff report. However, in light of the current situation and concerns regarding our recruitment process and hiring of assistant general managers, I decided, as well as Vice President Crowther, that we are going to bring this out to the light of day so that all the board members are properly advised that the general manager will receive instruction to go out and get a request for qualifications for our vacant general manager positions, both operations and engineering, being that there is no official report.
I'm just trying to clarify why there was nothing provided. But I'm fine with what you're proposing. It would have been nice if that was something here.
Okay.
Question. I supported generally what you're trying to do, but I think, you want qualifications. Is this a recruitment effort?
Well, it is a recruitment effort to be able to find a firm who can help us be able to hire the assistant general manager for operations and engineering.
So basically, this is hiring an agency to do recruitment for the assistant general manager.
Yes, the two positions.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't read that way.
Okay.
Can we clearly write that so we can vote on it?
Okay. Do you have a suggestion?
Why don't I amend it?
Why don't you amend it?
I'll make a motion on item number 11. What is this, 10, 5?
11.
Item number 11, we amended to say that we're going to look for a outside professional firm to do a recruitment for the two vacant AGM positions for operation and engineering. And to bring that back to the board, the general manager will bring it back to the board by January. You want a date on this?
January 16th.
January 16th. That is my motion.
I'll second the motion.
Have a second.
Okay, vote.
I have discussion. I'm a little troubled by this, to be perfectly honest, gentlemen, just because I think part of the issues we've had, particularly with our executive hiring, is this idea of basically circumventing running it through our own internal processes of listing it on our website and governmentjobs.com. We have an account with NeoGov specifically for this purpose. I am not in favor of bringing in any more outside consultants to do executive hiring. I don't care what their qualifications are. We've had too many issues with some of the hires here at the executive level because we basically circumvented running it the normal way. To me, it's like, I completely agree that we need to run these positions. But to me, it's like, put it on the website, let's start accepting applications. I mean, let's at least try to go through the normal process. If at the end of that, we come to the realization, okay, maybe we're not getting enough qualified applicants, then we can look at going back to going to an outside consultant. But I think that this honestly sends the completely wrong message that we've had too many issues with having, yet again, another outside consultant hand-picking people instead of just putting it out there and allowing anyone with qualifications to be able to apply.
Mr. President, you have a motion on the floor in a second.
Discussion, Vice President Crowther.
Director Young, I totally agree with you. I don't think this would preclude employees from hiring from within, from being able to have applications, whether it's through NeoGov or the district website or whatever. Actually, I think this would just be in addition to, because the other part, I agree.
Can we clarify that then in the motion?
Well, I think we would work that out with whatever firm we end up going, because our idea would be to have multiple firms be brought on by the general manager, and the board have an opportunity to discuss with whoever qualified people are, that this is the services we can provide. Okay, cool. We want you to first, whatever, meet with people from the in the building that would like to promote for the job. Don't just go out and search out, wherever. But so I don't disagree with you, but I also think it's, one, these are very, very critical positions that we've been without for a substantial amount of time. And I do agree with you that we do run into these issues of people that are getting selected. But it's also very important that these people get selected, because our general manager's been without assistant general managers for just about as long as I've been on the board. So I think it's very important that we make sure we do get the most qualified candidates, but I definitely support promoting from within if there are.
It's not even a question of promoting from within. It's again, using our normal process instead of going to outside vendors to basically do the job of hiring.
Can you repeat the motion? I think some of this is cleared up in the motion. Can you repeat the motion?
The motion is to allow, I'm sorry, the request for qualifications to be sent out to look for outside professional firm to look for the two, or do a search for the 2 vacant AGM positions, to have this completed by January 16th.
To bring firms back to the board so we can select the firm to do the recruitment on January 16th.
That's my understanding.
Yes,
That you're bringing back to the board to select the firms to
correct.
do the recruitment. At that particular point, we can direct the firm on what we want to do. It was not to go out and hire the firm, but to bring those recommendations.
No, that I understand. I just object
Right.
to the idea of just hiring a firm to begin with.
Oh,
when-
okay.
When we should be running it like we always do for most of our positions, or at least how we used to do it.
So we could give direction to the firm to use neo.gov as part of the recruitment process.
Well,
This is just to get a firm.
We can obviously take that up after this. vote.
Yes.
Right, and, let's, pose this.
I move the question, please.
And it's been seconded.
It's been moved and properly seconded.
Dr. Michael Taylor?
Yes.
Dr. Greg Young?
No.
Dr. Clifford Young?
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes. Okay. Move on to item number 12, the adoption of resolution number 2019-25, amending Schedule B, standing committees, and Schedule C, outside meetings of ordinance number 84, compensation and policies related to board. Please review page 73 listed, and then as well, page 74 for Schedule B. Schedule C is on page 5. For the committee.
Mr. President, just a point of clarification that in the board packet, it is actually ordinance 85. I don't know why it says 84 on the agenda. In the resolution, it says 85.
Okay, hold on. It says ordinance number 84.
If you look on the actual resolution,
Hold on, the board packet.
page 73 of the packet.
You're correct on Director Greg Young, it is ordinance 85.
Okay, I just want to be clear so we don't have to come back and do it over again.
Okay. Okay, do we?
President, I request to chair the finance committee.
Mr. President, I also request to be on the finance committee.
Any other requests regarding the finance committee? Being there are no other requests to be on the finance committee, Clifford Young as the chair and Dr. Michael Taylor as a member of the committee.
Mr. President, I also request to chair the Human Resource Committee and also the Safety and Technology Committee.
Greg Young, any committees?
Oh, I didn't know we were still doing his. I would be interested in being back on the Engineering and Planning Committee as I had been previously.
Okay. Any other committees?
I think that's fine.
Okay.
Right now.
External affairs.
Okay, HR committee. I'll also go on the External Affairs Committee. All right, Fowler for the engineering, safety, and then safety and technology.
President Hawkins, do you mind if I repeat that back to you?
Yes.
Finance Committee, we have the chair as Clifford Young and Director Taylor as the second position. HR will be chaired by Michael Taylor, Director Taylor, also yourself. Safety and Tech, chaired by Michael Taylor, Director Michael Taylor, and Kyle Crowther. Engineering Committee, chaired by Greg Young and Kyle. And External Affairs, chaired by Clifford Young and yourself.
Okay?
Thank you. I would respectfully request that you also appoint somebody to be on San Bernardino Valley Advisory Council.
That's the next. Yes, that's the next page. Thank you
Okay.
very much, Dr. Jones.
On the Aqua JPI.
Hold on, we don't get there, Dr.
Hold on, Dr. Yes, yes.
Can I speak now?
Yes, Dr. Young.
On the second page, on Aqua JPIA, the president of the board and the general manager as alternate.
Oh, you're requesting that?
Yeah.
Okay. Understand your request.
That's kind of typically the way.
That's typically the way it goes.
I understand what happens typically, but, you know, some things may change.
Well, do you not want to do it? That's
Not going to do it, then let us know.
No, okay. You're recommending the alternates be the chair, the president?
No,
and who?
alternate be the chair, the president, the rep be the president and alternate be the GM.
Okay, all right. We are permitted to have two reps.
I'll be on it with you.
Okay. Anyone else?
On that one or the others?
Okay, on that one?
No.
Okay. All right. Our Aqua's, all directors, Bloomington Municipal Advisory Council.
I would certainly like to be there as the main representative.
That's Greg's district, too, we should be there.
Well, we do have a little bit of Kyle's district, so I don't know if Kyle wants to.
Got Bloomington in there too. Kyle.
You want to go down?
Okay. I'll be the alternate. San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District Board meetings.
When are your meetings, June?
2:30 on the first and third Tuesday, although we're talking about maybe moving it to 1:30.
At 1:30 in the afternoon?
2:30 in the afternoon currently, on the first and third Tuesday.
All right, okay.
Okay, anybody else?
You just need one.
Cliff, were you taking that one?
Yeah, if it's that time slot,
Yes, like I said, there's been talk about moving it a little bit earlier.
that's great too.
All right.
Y'all can move it to 8 a.m.
Okay, moving on to San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District Advisory Commission on Water Policy.
You can put me on that one.
That was in the evening,
What time?
6:30.
Okay, I'm retired.
Okay, anyone else? All right.
I don't understand what the West End water development is. What is that? The new project over here?
No, it's a joint powers authority created in 1989 between the city of Rialto, city of San Bernardino, and the West Valley Water District to build facilities together if they so choose.
Is it an active committee?
It hasn't been active.
I'd like to be on that one, though.
Yeah, I also want to be on that one.
Okay.
EH and Taylor. All right, West President.
Did you want to designate alternates to the San Bernardino Valley Municipal and San Bernardino Advisory Commission? In case the people can't go, you have an alternate?
I'll serve as the alternate to the San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District Advisory Commission, unless someone else wants to serve as the alternate.
And then Dr. Young is the agency representative for the San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District Board meetings. Did you want an alternate for that?
They don't go for it.
It's during my working hours.
Yes, sir. My working hours too.
We'd have to look to one of our other retirees.
Retiree,
One of the alternates.
one of the doctors.
Sure, why not?
One of the doctors.
Dr. Taylor is the alternate to the San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District Board meetings. The agency representatives for the West End Water Development, Dr. Taylor and President Channing Hawkins. Any alternate for that one?
I'll be also.
I have a question. The Western Coalition of Arab States, is that WestCat?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yes.
I was gonna ask to be back on that again.
Huh?
I was gonna ask to be back on that again, unless you wanna.
I do it.
Well, there's two slots.
Yeah. I mean, I both Cliff and I've done it in the past, so I don't mind doing it again.
All right, now,
They meet all the time. I mean, like
okay,
2 and 3 times a month sometimes.
Dr. Young and Greg Young, and anybody else want to be I'll be the alternate. Okay.
Warren, it's a very technical group. That's why I like it.
Okay. And C, okay. All slots being filled.
President Hawkins, can I review that as well? Can I review those designations as well?
Yes.
For Aqua JPIA, it will be yourself, and Dr. Taylor with alternate being the GM. Bloomington Mac will be Greg Young and Kyle Crowther with yourself as the alternate. San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District Board meetings will be Dr. Young with alternate Dr. Taylor. San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District Advisory Commission on Water Policy will be Dr. Taylor and yourself as the alternate. The West End Water Development Treatment and Conservation Joint Powers Authority will be yourself, Dr. Taylor, and the alternate is Kyle Crowther. West Cast will be Greg Young and Dr. Young with yourself as the alternate.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I so moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Greg Young, and seconded by Dr. Young. Being no discussion, call for the vote.
Dr. Michael Taylor?
Yes.
Dr. Greg Young?
Yes.
Dr. Clifford Young?
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes. All right, being moved and moving on to item number 13, adoption of regular board meeting and committee calendar, page 76. With the understanding that, of course, in the practice, the calendar can be modified once the committee members begin meeting, and they may change the schedule accordingly.
There's a finance committee scheduled for tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
That is correct.
It is correct.
You need to make it, for me to attend, you're gonna have to make it later. I'm with Jacqueline until about 11:30.
Unfortunately, the agenda has already been posted.
Well,
I can't attend until 11 or 12. I just can't attend. I've taken her in the hospital, and I'm not gonna get back until about 10:30 or 11.
We could, you know what, we could reschedule it, that's
We
fine.
can just reschedule it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we will go ahead and cancel the finance committee meeting for tomorrow.
Do we have to have a motion to do that?
You have to have a motion to do that?
I think we probably do.
Yes.
I'll make the motion that we reschedule the meeting.
All right, second?
Second.
Okay.
Date to be figured out later.
All right, we have a motion, Dr. Young, second. Call for the vote.
Dr. Michael Taylor?
Yes.
Dr. Greg Young?
Yes.
Dr. Clifford Young?
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes. Okay, but that's the modification. Do we adopt the regular board meeting calendar?
We have not yet, and also, the engineering committee meeting, it was brought to my attention that I've indicated on the calendar that it occurs on the 3rd week of the month. That's incorrect. It occurs on the 2nd week of the month.
Okay, okay. So do we have to adopt it with that amendment, that it's on the 2nd week of the month?
Are the dates correct or?
The dates are correct, the engineering committee meeting meets on the second week of the month. So for engineering committee meeting, the dates on the calendar are incorrect.
Okay.
Okay. But the board meetings are the first and third.
The board meetings are correctly indicated.
Okay.
And the reason behind this is because one of the public's concerns was that our meetings weren't consistent enough, and we want to make sure that our meetings are consistent and everybody knows when and where they'll happen. And, you know, of course, they'll be subject to change and things will still happen, but our main meetings will be already listed and set.
Just a point of clarification, so you said that it regularly meets on the second Wednesday.
The second Wednesday of the month, that's correct.
Okay, yeah, because what's listed on here is the third.
The third, that's
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
President Hawkins, I'm gonna make a substitute motion that we table this item to the next meeting until we can get all the board dates straight, rather than passing in and having to repost it later. I think it'd just be easier if we just let the committees figure out if there's any conflicts. We can still come back and publish a schedule, I think. And that's my substitute motion.
Okay, substitute motion, is there a second on the substitute?
That's not a bad idea, Greg, yeah. I'll second that.
All right, unless there's any discussion, call for the vote.
Dr. Michael Taylor?
Yes.
Director Greg Young?
Yes.
Dr. Clifford Young?
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes. All right, because we had a substitute motion, we don't have to go back and deal with the original motion. Moving on to item number 14, consider the purchasing of a 2-yard dump truck.
I'll move that item.
Oh. Staff report, can we get a staff report on it?
General manager.
General manager or designee?
Good evening, President Hawkins and members of the board. This budget year, the operations department,
Please state your name.
this is Joanne, operations manager.
Yes. Hi, Joanne. Okay.
The operations department has budgeted for a 2-yard dump truck this budget year. We budgeted for $50,000, and we submitted on November 14, 2019. We released a request for bids on Planet Bids, and we received the 2 bids. The lowest bid submitted by Rotoro Chevrolet came in the lowest, and it meets all of the specified requirements. So we wish the board to approve this item so we can keep the department moving more efficiently.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I'll move the item.
I'll second it.
Okay, unless there is discussion, call for a vote.
Dr. Michael Taylor?
Yes.
Director Greg Young?
Yes.
Dr. Clifford Young?
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes, and just as a point of I guess, personal privilege, if the staff comes forward to make a presentation, please introduce yourself so members of the public can know who you are. Moving on to item number 15, consider notice of completion of recordation for the customer service foyer renovation project.
I'll move the item.
Staff report.
Staff report? Okay.
Rosa, can you please come forward?
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. Rosa Gutierrez, Senior Engineer, CIP Department. At this time, we are requesting that the board approves the recordation of the customer service foyer renovation. We are at 99% complete, and so all this is to take it to the board so we can record it.
Thank you.
I'll move it.
Okay, that's motion's been moved. With a second? Second. Any discussion? Being no discussion, call for the vote.
Dr. Michael Taylor?
Yes.
Dr. Greg Young?
Yes.
Dr. Clifford Young?
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next item, approval of amendment for professional services with MB Chang and Associates, Inc. Staff report?
Yes, the CFO will give that report.
Good evening, board members, residents. Ricky Van Baal, CFO for West Valley Water District. MV Chang has been contracted with the district since November of 2018, performed a departmental assessment of the internal controls, segregation of duties, resources, fiscal policies, and a whole laundry list of things that was looked at. Assessment report was presented, and then she came back, or her firm came back in February of 2019, which the contract was amended to include a detailed review of the finance and purchasing operations workflow, assist in training staff, preparation of policies and procedures, assist in implementing purchasing policies, work with independent auditors, and mentor the interim chief financial officer. February 2019, task order 3 was introduced or approved for her to serve as the interim chief financial officer due to the departure of the prior interim chief financial officer, to implement internal control, develop an accounting manual, and identify and resolve the segregation of duties, the lack of segregation of duties, and establish internal control over the purchasing process. On the dives, I've left a kind of big 8.5 sheet of paper to outline a project workflow of what actually transpired during this time. And in addition to that, we've also had the Poon Group prepared a 7-month audit on the district, and the findings were very similar to what the assessment findings were. So what we did was we tried to be proactive and set up a schedule to implement, or at least try to get some processes in place so we can address some of these significant issues. So if you flip through the pages, the first page we have there is the comprehensive accounting manual. This manual, in order to get it completely prepared, all of the other subsets that was identified, or the inefficiencies or weaknesses that was identified, needs to be completed in order to develop and prepare the accounting manual, because it will include all of those components that we're currently working on. So in the blue box where it states, where it says develop a comprehensive accounting manual, it lists tasks. And each of those tasks are related to the findings in the report. On the left side of the page, you'll see some bar charts, and I apologize, I couldn't get it any larger than this, that shows progress and where we're at since we've started. So the red area is what needs to be completed, the green area is what we're working on, and there's also timelines on when we anticipate completion of these tasks. Page 2, it starts one of the tasks, which is the lack of segregation of duties. And in that area, the task section in the blue box, again, lists several different outcomes that will be expected or will be completed in order to compile this accounting manual. Some of it is, I'll read some of it here, is to develop the policies and procedures regarding internal controls, develop communication skills within the department, review resources to support the functions in the department, and things of that nature. To the left again, it shows a timeline of progress in each of those tasks and also what's left to be completed. The second page, it continues because the segregation of duties area is pretty large. has additional tasks that need to be completed, also with timelines of portions that was completed with the green dot showing progress, the green bars. And same issue on page 3, segregation of duties again, and it's still in the work in progress. Page 4 has the contract management portion of it, and in the contract management portion, again, we've established policies and procedures to address contract management, meaning creating a central storage point that they can be accessed by staff or requesters, or when we have public records requests, we know where we're going to keep these documents and we can retrieve them quickly. And to the left, it shows you progress and what's left to be done. The next page talks about the excessive increase in pay rate. The blue area again lists tasks, the left area lists the completion. And this portion of the project has not been started yet because this is something that we need to work with HR and to determine what happened and how we can address that. The next page is the internal control over inventory. And again, we have itemized tasks, and we have completion and what's left to be completed with the timeline. And then the last one is the credit balance from the Colton Public Utilities. This was a one-time event that occurred. And the reason for that was what we found was the bills or invoices were not being reviewed and looked at by departmental managers, project managers, or directors that was responsible for them. So what we've done in addressing that is now everything is being reviewed, signed, and approved before it gets to accounting to process a payment. The reason we're seeking direction to continue the relationship with MV Chang and Associates is the organization have been here throughout this entire process. They understand what the needs are. In addition to that, we also have the state controller's audit that's pending. And we feel like some of those, based on discussions we've had with the auditors, that some of the findings are going to be similar to what we're already addressing. So having the expertise and the additional bodies will help with reaching these goals and implementing the corrective action that's necessary to put our processes and procedures that we have significant weaknesses that was identified from 3 different sources. Questions?
Yeah, I have a few questions. Ricky, I appreciate you putting together this presentation. I know the request to put it together came very shortly after myself and you had, the general manager had a conversation, and I'm glad we were able to get a little bit more meat on the bones. I have a few questions because I think this contract has come up as a matter in the public square, and with good concern. I understand the concern because I understand the desire to have Ms. Chang, who seems to be a very smart and intelligent and capable person involved in the process. I understand that, but as CFO, and you are a new CFO, why don't we have the resources in the house where you could lead our team to do this? And this is critically necessary.
Bodies. So we just lost our payroll staff. Our payroll, left for another opportunity. So we have one body down. We also have, staff that are accounting for sick, vacation, all the other good stuff. I am tasked with running the daily functions of the department. I am not by any means outside of this process. I work hand in hand with MV Chang to get this completed. Matter of fact, we've already completed draft policies that's in the draft formation that I am in the process of reviewing, and a few of them have already been reviewed, and we are going to pass those along now to the departments, because General Manager would like everyone's input on these policies that are putting in place, and then he will have a final review before it goes to each committee. So I just don't have enough time in the day to dedicate to just this project and also managing the department at the same time.
One follow-up question. I think this is the $1 million question whenever, that should be asked whenever we're about to take on a contract, or renew, is when is this work gonna be done? I mean, I see the charts, I see the colors, they look nice. But the truth is, folks wanna know when are these, recommendations from the PUN group gonna be implemented, and we are in a sound fiscal position. If I was to vote for this motion, I'm very interested in that question, because, I don't know in every situation whether we're having just a continuation of consultants for reasons no one could really answer. And I'm very concerned about this as a ratepayer first and foremost. We are very concerned with the fiscal foundation of this organization and where we're going. Yes, of course, we want to give you the tools, but the truth is we want this done. And I'm looking at the dates here. Is it going to be done? Is this going to be done? When are we going to be ready to go? I wish I can give you a solid date, but what I'll definitely do is give you an approximate date, target date, that I think will be very achievable based on our progress so far. And I would say no more than 4 months from today that we would have the PUN group and the assessment findings implemented, or at least procedures in place.
Mr. President, I add something here too. Is the target time that you're giving us, is that looking also to include the current audit that we just got from the state too? I mean, we don't have the report, so we don't really know. We can kind of guess based on the PUN group findings, but there may be some additional stuff that we have to follow up on too.
Agreed. Like I said before, they will, some of these will appear on there, but outside of that, we have no idea. So the 4 months that I'm talking about is basically completing what we've already started. And the reason I'm saying 4 months is, again, I have a lot of these already in draft format, and it's a matter of getting them reviewed, going through the committees, and bringing it to the board for adoption. So I'm pretty confident we can get that done.
Dr. Young. Couple of questions. When the last meeting we had with the state controllers, auditors, recall that meeting, you were in the meeting, Dr. Taylor, and I believe our general manager. One of the recommendations that we talked about and that they have used in the past was to go to an outside CPA firm in order to work with us through some of the issues. There was preliminary issues at that time, but also issues that the PUN group have brought out. but it seems as though going this route is contrary what the auditors told us directly. They even mentioned 2 local firms. And why we know something, we know a big train is coming to hit us, and we're going in a very different direction. Why is that?
Let me clarify just a little bit. When the state controllers, auditors were referring to CPA firms, they were referring to the CPA firms to do our annual audits.
No.
I think they were.
Follow up with their audit at the firm. They normally use local CPA firm. It wasn't for our annual audit. We had already chosen someone for that.
Okay, and that's fine. We could use a CPA firm, that there's no rationale, no reason why we can't. The second issue is CPA firms are dedicated to doing or committed to doing audits. In the governmental sector, there are specialized firms to conduct financial audits for the agencies. There's a limited amount of resources to get CPA firms to come out here and do that. Secondly, the cost would be astronomical. Third, Ms. Chang and Associates, MV Chang and Associates, already started this. And they are very familiar with what needs to get done. We are about halfway through. So I think it might behoove us to bring another firm in to complete what was already started. But I am willing to take direction in.
You said it may behoove us to bring another firm in now?
To complete what we've already started.
Contradicting yourself.
No, what he's saying is the board doesn't choose to use MV Chang. He's saying if the board doesn't choose to use MV Chang, another firm is necessary.
Well, I would suggest, I would suggest then that we go through a procedure of finding a local CPA firm to do the work that we need to do that may be acceptable to the state auditors. It seems like here we're snubbing our nose at them and doing our own thing, and we may have to come back and do the same thing. Why can't we go out?
We can. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't, the state auditors can make recommendations on what to do, right?
Right.
And we're not snubbing our noses, or we're not ignoring them. We're actually complying with every request. Their report is not completed yet, so we're not even addressing what their issues are. But we are anticipating that the same findings that we know about will reappear. And we've started working on those particular policies and procedures, and we are almost there. If we choose to bring another firm in, then we would have to bring them up to speed on where we're at, and then have them continue on and finish up where we're at. Finish up with what we've started.
Under that scenario, at the end, we may have to bring in another firm anyway. If I heard the conversation properly that they were having with us, they were recommending something very different than what we're doing.
I will.
I was in the room, but I honestly don't remember that.
I don't remember that conversation either. I'd sure like to see the report.
Okay, order. There's too many people talking at one time.
Can we move to discussion?
I suggest that we do an RFP for a local firm, local CPA firm, to do the work that we need to do. That's my suggestion.
And Missy Chang, just so you know, is a CPA, and she does have an excellent relationship with the state controller's office.
I've heard all of that.
Yes.
But the initial way she was hired, I still have questions about. And what was followed up with that, I have questions about. How did we come about MV Chang? How did we do that?
It was a firm that I was aware of. I consulted with the board president.
Did you go out and look at other firms?
She was a firm that I knew, and I consulted with the board president at the time, and we moved forward.
Mr. President, I'll second the motion.
Wait,
Dr.
sorry.
Young's motion.
Dr. Young's motion, with alternate, what's that? You making an alternate motion or amendment? What are you making, Dr. Young?
Motion was basically that we go out and seek a local, CPA firm to complete the
Well,
work here.
We're still in the middle of this presentation. We haven't moved to, we're still in the middle of this presentation. Well, we're not finished with all the other board members having the opportunity. Well, okay, well, you wanna make
Do
your
you have
motion now?
anything else to add?
On the table.
You got a motion on the table?
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Second.
and a second. Let's call for the vote.
Dr. Michael Taylor?
No.
Dr. Greg Young?
Yes.
Dr. Clifford Young?
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
I'm gonna abstain for now, I wanna finish going through the presentation, I'm not disagreeing with where you're going, but I'm abstaining for now, I wanna finish this.
President Channing Hawkins?
I'm abstaining too. I wanna finish the presentation first.
The motion fails.
Okay, so, any other board members have any questions of, Mr. Mandeville? Mandeville. I'm gonna get it right. I've only been here
All right. I've been
14
told-
days. I'll get it right.
Try to say Shemendra.
Do you have more of a presentation? Do board members, do you have more of a presentation? I have one more question.
That was the brief,
I have one more question in regards to your presentation. So are we asking for 4 months, 6 months, or a year, or what are you?
well, I would
really
say,
asking for?
like I said, I definitely think I can get it completed in 4 months with the policies and procedures in place. That's not including any additional, findings from the state controller's audit, because I haven't seen that report as yet. So that's, whatever the additional is from that report, will need some more time. But we are anticipating that a majority of it will be the same things that was identified.
And one last question. So we're asking for 6 months, or
Yes.
how much?
I would say 6 months.
So it went from 4 to 6 in,
Well-
what, 20 minutes?
Well,
I think this started at a year. We
exactly.
halfway back. If we do something, I'm not sure where the other board members are, but being more exact and precise, this isn't candy we're giving out. This is the
No.
ratepayers' funds.
Yes, and it would be appropriate, it would be rushed, and, it can be delivered.
How much? How much?
That's, my first question would be is if we were to talk about whether it's 4 months, 6 months, or a year, do we have, and I don't have my report in front of me, I apologize, do we have an approximate cost for this, or does this seem to fluctuate based on the tasks, or what kind of finance?
Yeah, we would have to get a proposal of dollars from the firm based on time.
Well, the staff report said $65,000.
$1,000, thank you.
Right,
And
but
is that for a year?
Is that for 4 months, 6 months?
That was for a year.
that's for, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Is it 55,000 a year or what?
65.
A year.
6.5.
So if thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
So going back to that, so they're asking for $65,000 for another 1-year contract. You're estimating the projects can be completed within 4 months. So obviously that can be something we can discuss. If the board were to go the direction of going through an RFP, and obviously MB Chang would be invited to participate in that, if another agency were to be selected, for lack of a better term, how impractical would it be, because I don't know anything about, the CFO role, how practical or easy would it be for another agency to come in and complete the projects, or would this be something out of the ordinary?
It might be a little bit challenging, simply because if, let's say another firm does come in, I would have to, again,
spend the time to go through the audits that was conducted, go through each area that we have findings in, go back through our current policies and procedures that was already reviewed. They may want to interview staff again that we've already done, and then have to go back through the reports that's already been drafted, which we've spent, a significant amount of time doing already. So those are some of the challenges, but again, it's purely the board's choice. I'm willing to take any recommendation.
I got a question.
Yes, Doc.
How long have we been working on this entire thing? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Actually, it may seem like it's been a while, but it really hasn't. We started this maybe September.
All right, so that's a while.
Yeah.
All right, so basically you'd have to, if we brought in a new firm, you gotta bring them up on what? 5 months worth of stuff?
5, 6 months worth of things, yes.
Okay. Starting over.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Dr. Young?
Do you have a prior relationship with this firm?
Yes, I do. I actually conducted the initial assessment and wrote the assessment report.
For MB Chain?
Yes.
And when we did the initial contract with MB Chain, a part of that contract that was, the board didn't approve, but the general manager went ahead and did it, was that the MB Chain had the right to have a full-time person on our staff. Correct?
I'm not aware of that.
I repeatedly said that language was poorly written. That was not.
I can't hear you.
I repeatedly said that language was poorly written. The intention of that language was that we do not hire per person. That was the intention of our language.
But that's not what the language said.
Yes, that's what the language said.
No, that's,
One
the
person
language
was in
said that we could, and the board pulled that language, but
We
the
hired
board
anyone.
pulled the language, but you went ahead and hired someone from the firm.
I didn't hire.
Yes, you did.
The board did the hiring.
You made the selection, didn't
You made the
I didn't make
selection.
the selection.
Oh, it's who you present to the board.
Yes, there were
A
five or
distinction
six-
without a difference,
there were
I would
5 or
say.
6 candidates
Oh, no.
presented to the board. And we went through the
Yeah,
process.
it's a conflict here.
Well, I think, there are some serious concerns about this contract. Some serious concerns about the, scope and the cost of this contract. I think there's also some challenges with, the ability of our organization to implement the fund group's findings. And I understand some of your concerns with that.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we table item 16 until further discussion. Make another motion.
Let's resolve.
Staff would like to see this resolved, the vote one way or the other.
Are we voting on a year, 6 months? What are we voting on?
The amended contract, I believe, is for another year.
Well, Ms. Chang, can you come to the?
Good afternoon, Honorable President and members of the board. My name is Misty Chang of MB Chang Associates. I'm the president and CEO. I'm not sure if there was a current question right here, but I wanted to address some of the issues that we have before us here. Was there a question?
I think there's just concerns about the contract. I don't think there's any way to get around that. However, we have practical issues with complying with the planning group's audits. And from what the CFO just gave us is that this should be done in 4 months. I assume the contract can be amended to 6 months. And, you know, as far as the ability to do that, if the board was to make a consideration to amend the contract, you know, the ability for us to get this work done in that amount of time, you know, is that possible? Is that something that we would have assurance can get done?
So of the accounting manual policies and procedures, I've already had my staff, MB Chang staff, work on that. We had probably a dozen of those. It was directed by Mr. Mansell that we bring it to all the department heads to review those, whether it was the travel policy, the purchasing policy, the credit card policy, and the list, you know, goes on. And we have some new ones too that we didn't even bring forth to the other department heads, such as cash collections, the billing process, cash handling type of payroll process. So we still have other ones that we haven't even touched yet of these policies and procedures. So that's just the accounting manual. These other ones, such as inventory, is, you know, a very small task. Colton Public Utilities is a, you know, one-time, you know, occurrence. So a lot of these things can be addressed, but again, Mr. Mansell had directed myself and Mr. Mambahal to bring it to the department heads. Once that was done and there was buy-in and any changes and edits to those policies, then those were then brought to the Finance Committee, which has been in many times either canceled or one member was present only. So we pulled those policies, the draft policies off, and the Finance Committee has not been able to review those. But that was the step that we were directed to bring it to the Finance Committee for their approval and recommendation to bring it forth to the board for their approval as administrative policy. So it's not a matter of just myself and my staff completing each of these policies. It's a process that has to be brought forward all the way to you as a board to approve. And so with that, yes, I can probably get my staff to complete a accounting, you know, procedures manual and policy manual. However, to actually bring it forth to you to have it approved can take a much longer process because we have to go through the department heads approval process of edits and changes and their buy-in and corrective, you know, edits from that. And then the Finance Committee, and then same thing. So that going back and forth, and we only meet the Finance Committee once a month. So with that said, you know, it could be difficult to get it in front of you in 4 or 6 months. Just, it depends on how quickly you want it delivered to you.
Ms. Chang?
Okay.
If that makes sense.
You were going first. Okay.
I have a quick question. Thank you for coming, Ms. Chang. I don't know if this question you can answer or the general manager. Regarding the reports that you're doing regarding the audits that are coming out, we have the state audit coming out, what kind of timelines are we on right now? If this were to get delayed to do an RFP for the remaining projects or in that, or what kind of time constraints are we facing as a district right now?
Well, it would be a couple of months to do the RFP, get responses, and then after that, bring somebody on board. And then there's the time that, you know, it takes for them to learn what's going on.
No, I understand that. I'm saying, are we on timelines? Do we have deadlines when things have to be completed by that other people when they get reports or findings?
Well, what we're trying to do is, she's in contact with the state controllers, and what she's trying to do is we're trying to accomplish as much as we can, trying to let them know what's going on, so that when they deliver their report, we have a more favorable report.
But we don't have a date on when the anticipated report's gonna be released.
Well, originally they told us November, then December.
Ms. Chang, do you have an active contract with the district?
It's been since expired.
When did it expire?
I'm not sure exactly, but I heard it's
November 5th.
And have you been continuing to work during that time?
Only
Between
for
then
the-
and now?
Only for I think it was the last day of the audit, which was November 22nd, I believe.
Because I know that I've received quite a few phone calls from constituents within my district about what's been in the newspapers about how you have been continuing to work, and Mr. General Manager, you commented to the reporters on that, and honestly, it's very disturbing for a lot of people, so there is a lot of controversy around your contract now, and whether or not we decide to re-up it for yet another go. And honestly, I'm a bit kind of perplexed, because I think that when we first brought you in, I think we had the best of intentions, and I have nothing against you. You know, we had a vacancy that was created because we had terminated our CFO. I voted against that motion, but it went through anyways. You know, I didn't think it was sound, but so you were touted to come in and help fill a void. Well, now we've hired one of your former employees. I'm sure you think very highly of his qualifications, or else you wouldn't have hired him. But I'm left wondering, well, if we now have a CFO, why do we still need your services? Why can't we do this in-house? And we've done this over and over and over again lately, where we have employees, we hire employees, but then we hire consultants to do what the employees should be doing, and it just seems like it's a mess. So can you answer why can't, and I'm gonna mess up your name, sir, so I'll just call you Ricky. Again, you felt he was highly qualified when you obviously hired him. Why is he not qualified enough to handle this as our CFO?
He is qualified enough to handle this as our CFO. He, as stated earlier, doesn't have the time because he has to run the entire operations of the finance department. So if I back up to address some of the other things, Mr. Mambahal, Ricky, has worked through my firm, MB Chang Associates, back in November, December of last year, 2018, and he had performed the assessment. I came in also right around Lanita McCauley Bates when I was mentoring her while she was the interim CFO.
Yes.
Then she left, and then I came on board to take over for that interim period of time before Ricky was hired on as a permanent employee.
It's been this kind of evolving picture over
During that
time.
time, we had a 7-month audit that was performed by the Poon Group, that was at the direction of the board to have a 7-month audit from July 1st, 2018 to January 31st, 2019. The staff, meaning the regular district finance staff, as it is, had to do regular operations, day-to-day operations, and then having to do a 7-month audit to prepare for that is the same as preparing for a normal audit. So therefore, my firm was tasked with sending staff out here to help with that
I'm not
audit
disputing
preparation.
what you were asked
I can
to
finish,
do.
Director, if I may just finish with this timeline. Then on top of that, there was the, let's see, so that was the 7-month audit. And then there was the state controller's, surprise audit that came unbeknownst to us. And they were here for 9 weeks, nearly 2 months sitting in the office and the administration. And we were working with them on a daily basis, gathering information. Again, myself, I had to be the liaison to help with finance staff to get all the information that they needed. And that was, very tasking on the finance staff. Because again, they have just finished the 7-month audit. They have to do normal day-to-day operations and then having to do a state controller audit on top of that. Then it doesn't stop there because there is the regular audit that is now in the commencing around November, which is about the normal time frame, maybe even a month late. And we've just completed that, although it's not quite complete. We have a few pending items, to get that issued out. But again, to prepare for that regular audit, you have to go through the whole process again, even though we already did 7 months. And then now we have to do the 5 months, but all the journal entries, the work papers, the PVC schedules, you have to prepare that again. So staff did that all on their own. However, again, I helped as a liaison to that audit that just ended. I believe the field work was the week of November
22nd.
22nd, it was a Friday. So during that field work, the auditors pushed to make sure they got all the documentation they needed as much as they could on site to be able to finish up the draft of the audit, hopefully before Christmas. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not, but.
And I appreciate you giving me the timeline, but that's still not answering the question I'm trying to ask. The question wasn't why were your services necessary up until this point? The question I'm asking is, why can't our CFO finish this job with him and his staff? Why do we need to yet continue this relationship?
Can I chime in for a second?
Well, I'm asking for right now.
If he is to take on the task of doing the accounting policies and procedures manual, as well as cleaning up all the audit findings in the Poon Group audit, then something else has to give, because he's got Maximo implementation, he's got the Tyler implementation of the other modules, and regular day-to-day operations. It is a lot to do. Typically in cities, which is generally what I specialize in, when you have an accounting policy procedure manual, it's not a daily routine. This is something that you do maybe once every few years. You bring in a specialized staffing firm such as my own, or an individual who has several years of experience. I'm talking 20 or more years of experience in the field to be able to recognize how to go about doing these things and writing up those procedures in a timely fashion and presenting that to the director of finance or the CFO. So yes, he can do it. He's qualified to do it. I mean, that is why I hired him in the first place when he wasn't working here permanently. But that is, a lot of tasks for one man to do.
Well, it's not one man. He's the head of a major department and has a lot of employees who work for him, correct?
Correct, but then at the same time, if you're going to task a district finance staff member to do it, that is additional duties on top of, say, whatever it is, bank rec, journal entries.
My question
We
don't want to burn out the staff.
Right, and we have had a lengthy presentation, and all the board members had an opportunity to ask questions during this presentation.
I'm done with questions.
You're done with the questions, okay? Doctor, okay, we're getting too exhausted.
As I understand it, Mr. Manziel brings your firm in without looking at any other firms because he has a prior relationship with your firm, correct? Am I wrong or not?
Wrong. I have no prior relationship with her firm.
You just contradicted yourself 30 minutes ago.
I said I knew of her firm.
You knew of her firm.
Right, that's
But
not a prior relationship.
did you look at any other firm?
The answer is no.
No. And then Ms. Chain comes in and I'm sorry, Ricky, I can't pronounce the last name.
Hall. Hall. There you go.
And then as I understand, there's somebody else from your firm that's been coming here in the last couple of months?
Yes.
As a CFO?
No, just to work on the policies and procedures, but he has since not been working. Both of us have stopped because our contract has expired.
What's the size of your firm?
In terms of what?
Personnel? Full-time?
20 plus.
Huh?
20 plus.
20 plus?
Yes, in any 1 month, I have over 20 employees, and we service over 12 to 13 cities a month, or in this case, Water District.
All right. Well, thank you for your presentation. Well.
If I dare to make a motion.
Yes, please, there.
Thank you, Ms. Chang, for all your hard work. I 100% support you in continuing to do this project. I understand you've done a lot of work into it. I understand the staffing level concerns that Mr. Nambahal has to fight. I understand Director Young's concerned about making sure employees in-house, I know that was a question that we had discussed earlier about making sure we're not just gonna have outside vendors continue to do work that employees can do, but I also understand how we don't have the staff to do it. I appreciate you making a comment about it being, this isn't something you do on a daily basis, otherwise we need to address it, getting more staff members.
Yeah.
That's not my concern. My concern in this particular situation, in discussing with President Hawkins, is as this board of directors is now actually been getting along better than it ever has been, we are moving in the direction of transparency and moving in the way of how our ratepayers are holding us accountable for things that we've done in the past and changing our ways. And one of the biggest issues that has continued to come to light, and we now have an opportunity to address it, is making sure the district is hiring people fairly and appropriately. And I think we have an opportunity now. Unfortunately, it's with you, but I think now we have an opportunity with the fact that your contract is currently expired. We have an opportunity to do the right thing and do an RFP for the remaining time of the project. I understand it's bad timing. I get it. I'm up here legitimately conflicted on how to address this matter. But I think that if we have the ability to, we're not facing any constringent timelines and it's not going to be impossible. I would obviously love for your firm to continue doing the project. I'm not precluding you from this, obviously, but I think as a board, we have the opportunity to do things the right way, go through an RFP, just so we're being transparent to not only the district, the ratepayers, and the board. So my recommendation would be we do an RFP for the remaining time of the project. I understand that if for whatever reason another firm is selected, we have to give them adequate time to get caught up to speed, and that obviously would not be my hope, but I think we have an opportunity to do things the right way, in my opinion.
If I may add one more thing, Mr. Crowther, it is important to resolve the Poon Group findings, because if they're not resolved by June 30th of 2020, they will repeat again in the audit. So each of the findings should be resolved by then. And so that is about 6 months away.
Just give us the short version of the motion.
Well, I was just,
Don't mind.
I was just.
The short version.
I will let the legal counsel.
Yeah.
Regrettably, an RFP is not on the agenda, so we can't vote on an RFP right now. You do have approval of amendment for professional services on the agenda, so you could, take a vote on that and vote up or down, whatever you do, and then you could bring back direction for, on the next meeting an agenda for our agenda item for RFP.
Well, if we've already, if we know if it is voted upon to not continue the services, can't we give direction to the general manager now to?
You can give direction to the general manager to bring back an RFP for the next meeting and put it on the agenda, yes.
Okay.
But we'd still take a vote. You can't vote on an RFP right now.
You can't vote on RFP.
Can we also give the general manager direction to bring back to the board preferred firms to use?
Well, I think that would be a part of the process. You bring back the RFP, and then there would be firms that
I'm
would.
trying to truncate the time.
Kind of like we did with the assistant general manager.
With the assistant general manager of the firm.
Just truncate the time.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. So let's start with the motion up or down. Okay, for the professional services. All right. Do we have a motion on the floor?
I make a motion that we approve it.
Approve it. Yes.
Do we have a second?
Do we have a second? It dies. Motion dies.
I'll make a motion that we reject item 16.
Motion to reject item 16.
I second.
Being that the motion to reject is moved and properly seconded, call for a vote.
Dr. Michael Taylor?
Just to be clear, that a affirmative vote is actually a vote to reject. I just want everybody to be clear, because it normally doesn't vote this way.
We understand.
Yeah.
The motion is to reject
Correct.
the approval of the amendment for professional
So if you
services
say
with
yes,
MHA.
you're voting to reject.
No.
Dr. Greg Young?
Yes.
Dr. Clifford Young?
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes. General Counsel, can I give direction to the General Manager now as far as the direction to get an RFP and RFP for continuation of the work, implementation for the PUN group's audit findings?
Yes, the agenda item is over, and normally you would give that direction before your agenda item is over, so you could do that now if you like, or you could do it at the end on your board comments.
Okay, I'll do it at the board comments. Let's go. All right. Budget amendment to fund agreement with Aerotech Inc. for temporary labor services for fiscal year 2019 and 2020.
Yes, that'll be, is she here? Diana Gunn? Yes.
President Hawkins, we also have Butcher Riza who put in a public comments request for this item.
Well, he did. Yeah. Okay. Mr. Ariza?
Damn, I almost went to sleep now.
Well, this is what deliberation looks like.
That's good. That's the way you should be doing it. I don't remember, is this the one for the temporary services?
Yes.
Once again, I think this district is overstaffed as it is already. And why would you, if you're already gonna stop the hiring and all the rest of it for a while until you see what's going on, I don't know why you need a contract with this firm. After you get through with your assessment, bring it back and look at it. But you don't need it now.
Okay, Jeremiah's going to speak to the item. Explain to you this chart you have in front of you and why we needed Aerotech.
So basically, the chart displays employees in customer service. You see the vacancies on there, and there's also a notice of employees that left for personal leave. Things of personal leave may be maternity leave. So this contract was actually activated before I started at the district, but I'm just showing you the staffing levels and how it affects my staff.
Okay. Okay, question. So currently, I see this in June of 18, October of 18, January of 19, November of 19, December of 19. So currently, you're down 2 customer service rep 1s?
1 through 3, yeah. So we've basically recategorized 1 through 3 based off of qualifications.
Right, but I see here in the yellow that says vacant for December of 19, there's only 2 people you're down 2 people.
Yeah, but there's also, we went through a rehiring phase. So we basically rehired a former employee. So you see the vacant, she just recently started. And we also have 1 person on maternity leave. So that would actually be 3 if you count the maternity leave and the 2 vacant.
So, but I'm confused. So who was rehired? I'm confused. So if they were rehired, that means they're working.
Can you re-ask that? Sorry.
The rehired person, does that mean that they are not currently working or they're about to begin?
No, they're currently working.
So what, I don't understand how that's a vacancy.
We still had to, that is actually not listed on the vacancies, but it mentions on here rehire. So we had a space time where we had to take care of that employee.
Okay, so, right, but that employee is in place now.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're down 2 hires, so so let me get this right, GM and assistant GM. So the proposal is to enter into a $50,000 plus contract because we are down 2 employees in customer service, because that's what I'm getting from this presentation.
No, the contract already exists. We're just asking for additional funds. Originally, the contract was put in place because we have vacancies in operations. And we used Aerotech until those vacancies were filled. Then we started having vacancies in customer service because of people taking family leave and other leaves. And also the people leaving and having vacancies. So we're just asking for money to pay for, and by the way, this comes from salary savings. So in other words, we have a lot of vacant positions. So this money is not additional money to the budget. It's just a budget amendment to take it from salary savings and put it into the contract to pay for the salary.
But I guess I have a question though. But why are we increasing the contract if it's just for normal expected individuals that are on leave? Why do we need to increase the contract?
Because we spent the money that we had in the contract on these positions in the prior months.
What I understand is that the prior contracts were for 25,000 or.
It's one contract that we just keep adding money to.
But okay, so the last time money was added to it, how much money was added?
I think it was 50,000. I'm not sure. I cannot swear to that. That was back like May or June.
Yes. Well, Dr. Young was first in line.
Right.
You were just given directions about a hiring freeze. And now you need a temporary agency to hire people. That's one question I have. Did I have enough?
If we have the need.
I'm confused.
We're not hiring people. We're trying to replace anybody who leaves. And that would be with the board's permission. That's not a problem.
Wait. You said who leaves or who is on leave? On leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not
I think that's a conflict of the policies. You're going contrary to what we just approved. First. Second is, as I understand it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong or we can debate it, this firm was used to hire temporary people for the district, right?
Yes, before I came here, yes.
Before you came here?
Yes.
But at the present time, you're hiring people through the temporary firm, then the people come in and you make them permanent. And then when you make them permanent, you promote them to another position that's higher and increase their pay. That's the problem I got with you using this firm. It's a scam.
If you give me the
It
specifics.
is a scam.
If you give me the specifics, I can answer your question.
Answer my
I cannot answer a question unless you give me specific names and incidents.
I can't do that in public session.
Then
But
I
I'm
can
just
answer the
pointing out to you at least 2 instances that I know about where that has happened. At least 2.
I'm happy to discuss those issues with you.
Okay. Well, I'll take the, I guess
He didn't use his whole 3 minutes.
right, and I think I'll take some presidential privilege, Mr. Horizon, letting you get another comment.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, members of the board. Now's a perfect time. I gave you all a letter earlier that was sent to me that has names of a lot of people that are being transferred around. Cross-train them, send them over to customer service and let them learn how to talk to customers. Perfect time. You already got them here. They're good enough to go to some other part of the department, send them to customer service, let them work there for a while. You do not need this contract right now. Thank you. $50,000? No way.
Mr. President, I'd like to make the motion that we reject item 17.
I second the motion.
Discussion. So what is the plan for individuals when they go out on leave? What are we gonna do? Is it that?
What's our policies when that happens? I
I
mean,
don't-
certainly we are a union environment. We don't just replace people when they go out and leave.
Of course.
You know?
Of course.
And
of course,
certainly-
Mr. Young, you've been here longer than me, so you can educate me about the policies and practices, because this firm didn't get here, recently. They've been here for a while. So
Correct.
I just want to know.
Part of the reason why I'm so opposed to this is because this has been like the ever-growing blob. It started out very innocently, like we really actually probably needed it, and now it's just keeps ballooning and growing, and we just keep coming back here, and we need more money. And I have to ask questions for what? I mean, like you were asking the questions about how many positions. You got 2 positions. Okay, well, if it's so dire, as we were discussing earlier about the hiring freeze, bring that on an agenda item and explain to us why it is so critical you fill those 2 positions right away. And then let's actually fill them the proper way instead of just relying on temporary labor instead of using our regular union labor. To me, this is basically union busting, is when you start using all this temporary labor instead of actually hiring actual union employees.
Here, here.
You know, so I'm adamantly opposed to this, and this has been growing over and over, and I've been against these expansions, and I continue to be against this. We need to cut this, period.
In the West Valley Water District, and this is a question for the general manager, they do have temporary items listed as classifications within the West Valley Water District currently that aren't just an outside agency, that you can have individuals who work under 1,000 hours under the current policy who could do that. So why can't these types of situations be handled through the existing policies? And I think that's what Ms. Gregg was alluding to.
1,000-hour worker program is usually people who are at lower levels and don't have experience. With Aerotech, we can bring people in that have experience.
Well, but if we're talking, I do understand the concern, but we're also talking about a customer service. Now educate me, but we have talking about a customer service rep, and this is your presentation. It's not the presentation I put together. This presentation I was handed. Customer service rep 1 and customer service rep 1 are the positions that are vacant. I'm not sure. I'm sure we have, I appreciate and respect every single worker who works here, but based on what you were saying in regard to experience level and skills, certifications and so forth and so on, I'm not sure if the customer service rep 1 falls into the line of someone who could be, we could utilize for the 1,000 worker program.
We're not
1,000-hour program.
We've been negotiating with the union on these matters, including temporary workers from Aerotech.
Right.
But I can't talk about.
We eventually will have a contract. I don't know if the contract will speak to necessarily temporary workers. However, what I do know is that currently within the scope of West Valley Water District, that we have the 1,000-hour worker program. That is something that we do have, and it is for training opportunities, internships, things of that nature. Hopefully we'll get a partnership with San Bernardino Valley and get those folks over here too. In the same place with Greg, why can't we use that program to fulfill these types of jobs? We're not talking about, somebody with the 5th the 3rd certification, the 5th certification, things that require substantial schooling and preparation, and in that case, you could definitely come back to the board and make the case for us to be able to fill those positions, because that would be a critical need. Like we have over at Romer, we have critical need over there. We probably need some staff of a higher level and kind of figuring that out, but that's a separate matter. I won't go into all that. But in regard to these kinds of positions, why can't we do it through the 1,000-hour worker program?
There's nothing saying we can't,
Okay, all right, well,
but we do need to pay our bills with our tax,
okay, what's the outstanding?
about $15,000.
Okay, all right, so,
To do what?
wait, he said there was a bill. Hold on, Dr. Young. So, we have not been presented the bill. Are we being presented the bill tonight?
No, this is
Okay, all right, so we'll get into it later. However, I will accept a motion on this particular.
We already have a motion.
Well, can we?
Yes, the
Ray, can you
motion
repeat
was-
the motion? Motion to deny. Is there a second? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I second.
Okay, all right, then, call for the vote.
Director Dr. Michael Taylor,
Yes.
Director Greg Young,
Yes.
Director Dr. Clifford Young,
Yes.
Vice President Kyle Crowther,
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins.
Yes. Okay, moving on, CIB budget amendment to facilitate additional maximum user licensing and hosting services.
Diana Gunn is coming for this.
Mr. Board President Hawkins and members of the board, good evening. My name is Diana Gunn. I'm the asset manager. I would like to first give the brief history of the asset management activities in the district. When the general manager introduced the asset management program, and he presented it to the board on.
Excuse us, Diana, I think, I'm sorry, and I sincerely apologize for cutting you off during your presentation. However, we're gonna have to take a 5-minute bathroom break. My colleagues are up here definitely asking me about it, so we gotta take 5 minutes. So, sorry, everybody, I apologize for that. I apologize.
I ain't staying much longer either. Fight it out. All right, good to see you, man. Hey, what happened to them Raiders? Anthony, you taking off? I hope, man. Come on. Keep betting on them. I know. We'll be all right. I did too.
Yeah, he's on maternity leave, right? Somebody told me about
Two of them sit by themselves. I got to look at the schedule. They won't have finance tomorrow.
I knew your dad was a good guy. Sorry about that, you know, when he passed away. No, I was thinking about it.
We're setting a record. I know. You haven't turned into a pumpkin yet. No, not yet. Told you actually we could have lunch at about 8 o'clock.
I think most of the game. John. Don't forget when you guys lock up tonight. Just lock that door. I know they're going in and out. I'm thinking, oh man.
Definitely let us know if you have any issues.
We'll work it out.
Yeah, I don't know who they talk to, but I mean, they kind of been.
I know what it is. That's not what the contract is. That's not what the contract is. We'll do it.
Okay.
We'll do it.
Yeah, but I'm very, very sorry for all the people. You have your house too.
And then we'll do it. I know enough that I can't talk about it.
Well, thank you for coming and letting us know, because I definitely want to make sure everything's right.
Hi, buddy. Gilbert, how you doing? Good to see you.
You guys are earning your pay tonight. Good for you.
Glad to see you.
Big bucks.
I know, but they're not going to earn it tonight.
I'm ready to.
We per hour really below on this
I keep telling you, I can't handle this anymore, but.
Well, we sure do
Then I come
appreciate
back.
For a while.
We hope. At least something's happening.
If the meeting goes out any longer, we're going to put us open.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm surprised.
We don't need like 50 slides.
like, here it comes. I know, it's just like. I appreciate it. Well, that's why I was telling you, like. And what's that?
So it's against the law.
Oh no, trust me, it's the good stuff, because he was there when I bought the alcohol.
I know better.
Yeah.
Yes, marmalade though, so we're in good shape.
Yeah.
No, that is flammable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like since we came back with all that.
So you still have stuff left?
Well, like this is probably the last, because we try to make another trip. But it's like, I have to go with one of my colleagues, and like, does it taste like, this is 190 proof. I was like, it'll get you like a ton of coffee.
Saturday, 3 games.
Yeah, right. Like a big ass
Call the meeting back to order. Everyone, hey, yes. I'd like to welcome Nasim just told me I'd like to welcome our viewers online. I really appreciate them. I mean, the folks in the audience, at least they're here. The folks online who are watching, we are really honored that you have stuck with us this long. In regard to the next item, I know that this meeting has taken a lot longer than we all expected. I think we've had a lot of good questions and discussion this evening about really important issues, and as an agency, what we're going to do moving forward. Now, I know in relation to, I'm going to take a little presidential privilege, in relation to the Maximo contract, it is a substantial project that the organization is in. I know we are not going to be short of questions. I don't think so anyway. Looking at my colleagues now, I don't know if the general counsel can hold on, Dr. Young. The general counsel asked me if as far as tabling this, I know we are looking at a January 9th for a special workshop dealing with contracts and so forth. And if this is appropriate for something we can move to that date.
Budget is not appropriate for a special meeting.
Okay.
Well, may I, can we have the presentation and the discussion of the item at the special meeting, but then have the actual contract at the next regular meeting?
You could have a study session at a special meeting.
I suggest that we have a study session on this. It's such a major item, and I have a lot of questions. Let's set in January. Just put a hold on this and set until January to have a study session. A workshop, whatever you want to call it. This is a major item.
Okay, let me understand. So item 18 and 19 are closely connected?
Yes.
Okay. Item 18 and 19 being closely connected. In regard to having a study session, I know we are set to have a special meeting on the 9th to deal with contracts. That meeting begins at 6. Maybe we can allocate the appropriate amount of time to dealing with item 18 and 19 there, and we can ask all our questions, and then as far as taking any votes or anything, we can do it at our regularly scheduled meeting in January 16th. Are there any hard deadlines or?
Well, it's about integrating this software with Tyler, so that just goes on hold.
Well, I know and get me correct, I know on the 23rd, so starting next Monday, we go dark and don't come back until the 2nd. So I don't know how much of that implementation was going to occur between those 2 days.
Not much.
Not much. Okay. All right. So as far as
I have a question.
Yes, Dr. Young.
By putting a hold on this now until we do a workshop on it and then vote on it in the regular meeting, is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Now, are we, okay, so procedurally, General Counsel, can you advise us?
Yes, procedurally, you will need to table this item for now. And then when you put out your agenda for the special meeting on the 9th, you're going to include this as a study session.
Okay, so all right. So we're going to table this item to a study session on the 9th. Well, we're going to table this item to the 16th. However, we are going to make this a part of, we're gonna make a study session on this item on January 9th. Is that appropriate? Is that the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, then.
I second it.
So the motion is just to table,
Mhm.
motion to table.
Table items 18 and 19.
And the second, Dr. Young, second.
Yes,
Yes,
thank you, ma'am.
all right, okay, all right.
We gotta vote.
Do we have to vote? Yeah. Yes.
Dr. Michael Taylor?
Yes.
Dr. Greg Young?
Yes.
Dr. Clifford Young?
Yes,
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Shannon Hawkins?
Yes. Okay, now,
item number 20, I can't get to say.
okay, item number 20. This here is the approval of payments to Lil and Trejo for professional service rendered, June 2019 through November of 2019. Now, General Counsel, without disclosing any of the details or the merits of any of these particular legal bills, I do have a question. In general, what do these legal bills go to? What are they for?
Mr. President, we have 15 invoices from Leal and Trejo. The majority of those invoices are key TAM litigation invoices.
Okay.
The other ones are personnel, the other ones are investigations. They did an investigation regarding Mr. Mansell's complaint against Dr. Young, and that's 17656, 17684.
Hold on,
17656, 17684.
17684.
17716 is investigation. 17763. 17794. And then there are a few of these that are just expensive invoices, so expenses that they have are seeking reimbursement for.
Are those expenses related to the Key Tam litigation or?
Regrettably, the way I have it written up right here, it just says expenses, so I'll have to bring that back to you about whether those expenses are key TAM or not.
Okay.
Okay? But those are the ones that I identified for you are non-key TAM. It's 5,220. 17,716. Excuse me. Yes, 17,716 is 8,156. $17,763 is 9,390. And 17,794 is 1,760.
What's the grand total? Mr. Vanderbilt, we need your service. We need your service. We need your service.
$34,800.
$34,846.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's for the cost for the investigation.
Investigation, correct.
Dealing with that complaint, not for the Key Town.
That is
So we would be paying for that portion of the legal expenses for a already concluded investigation. I do want to take a little bit of privilege here with these legal expenses being one of the items that we are looking at on this agenda at this water district. One of the things that I know I have been as a ratepayer, and I know in the community have been very concerned about, is the amassing of these legal expenses. You know, why, what's the basis, you know, what's the reason, you know, and there's a lot of questions about it that a lot of people have, rightfully so. Because at the end of the day, these legal expenses are not just charged to some private company or some third party somewhere. This is built into the books of the West Valley Water District and for the ratepayers. And we as an organization have to do a better job in how we're being custodians of really the public trust and the public dollar. You know, I think that, you know, this evening we have had a good step forward in closely examining all kinds of items and issues and having debate, not necessarily agreeing on everything, but having real deliberative debate. But when it comes to these legal expenses, I don't know how productive they are for the taxpayer versus, you know, whether this contract to keep services at a certain level or whether we are debating the use of a financial system or whether we're going to respond to audit. All those things, I think, at the end of the day, come back and should yield some dividend for the taxpayer. However, when I look at these legal expenses, I don't see the same connection. I don't see the same value to the ratepayer. So I'm not here to necessarily lecture anybody or get on a high horse. I'm not perfect, but we as an organization have to really contemplate what we're doing with these legal expenses. And this isn't just something that nobody's paying for. So, in an effort to move the ball a step forward, I know this is a hard pill for folks to swallow, but these legal expenses for these closed investigations, I will entertain a motion for the board to pay for the expenses pertaining to the investigations as outlined by the general counsel and hopefully recorded by our secretary. I really have serious trepidation about doing this, but we racked up the bill. So now, the ratepayers and others got to pay for it. You know, I just hope this serves as a bit of caution for everyone, particularly everyone sitting up at this dais, staff, as well as board members. We just can't continue on like this. We just can't. We got to figure out a new way. So, with that being said, I'm making a motion to pay the expenses to Leal Trejo that just pertain to the investigations and nothing pertaining to the Keith Ham, nothing pertaining to expenses that we don't know where those expenses derive from. Is there a second?
Mr. President, can I identify the invoices that you are going to be part of your motion?
Yes.
My understanding of your motion is to, a motion to pass and pay invoice number 17656, which is the investigation invoice, 17684, investigation invoice, 17716, investigation invoice, 17763, investigation invoice, 17794, investigation invoice. That's my understanding of your motion.
Yes, only one little bit. Next time, can we get them in numerical order? It'll help me. But that's the motion. We'll read back, the secretary of me read back the motion. Crowther, do you have a...
Just a quick question. So I understand. I think I'm tracking on what you're doing. We're separating based on what it involves. is your motion going to be to pay the ones that legal counsel just described? And are we gonna revisit and have discussion about the remaining ones, or are we just passing these and we're not gonna vote to pass the paid ones?
I think, we are not, we can table the other, invoices to another date, but in regard to those particular invoices, I do want to call for a vote this evening, if that makes my motion clear.
I will second the motion.
All right, any further debate about it? All right, the motion's been moved and properly seconded. Secretary Escalera, call for a vote.
Director Dr. Michael Taylor,
Yes.
Director Greg Young,
Abstain.
Director Dr. Clifford Young,
Abstain?
Vice President Kyle Crowther,
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins.
Yes. Okay, so
Motion passes.
motion passes. However, the remaining, outstanding bills will be tabled to the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now we have another set of, legal bills, Albright, Yee, and Smith. What are these big legal bills pertaining to?
Mr. President, we have 8 invoices. 3 invoices, 26102, 26105, and 26107, relate to the Logue matter. Karen Logue filed a lawsuit against the district. That case has been settled, and that case is now over. That is, again, 26102, 26105, and 26107. The next 4 invoices are related to the Litchfield v. West Valley Water District. Mr. Litchfield was fired and he sued. Mr. Litchfield resigned. He claims that he was constructively terminated.
Okay, is that matter resolved?
This matter has not been resolved. We're currently in settlement negotiations with Mr. Litchfield's lawyer, but this matter has not been finally resolved. It's still ongoing. Mr. Litchfield's lawsuit is still ongoing.
Okay, what about the other invoices?
And then the last invoice, 26103, was an investigation regarding terrorist threats.
Is that investigation closed?
That investigation is closed.
Okay.
So none of these invoices have anything to do with the key town. So we're clear.
None of them have to do with the key town?
No.
Okay. Can we, any questions about the Albright, Yee, and Smith invoices? Okay. If we don't have any questions or an issue, can you count up the total of these invoices?
One more time.
$168,737. $168,000 for what again?
Okay, so this was the Logue lawsuit, which was a employment lawsuit. Employment lawsuits are very expensive. They just are. So the Logue lawsuit, and then the Litchfield lawsuit, again, an employment case. And then the last one, 26103, is for the terrorist threat investigation.
Terrorist threat investigation?
Yes, an employee made a claim that a director committed a terrorist threat upon them, and so we investigated that claim.
I don't want to be long-winded, but the fact that we have to absorb these expenses, I'm gonna take the liberty, because this is ridiculous. This stuff here, we as a district, we have to do better. This is $168,000. In my district, in District 4, that would probably take 3 or 4 families to make that amount of money a year. 3 or 4 families, not people, families. Most of them working 2 jobs, some 3, to pull together 40 or 50,000 bucks a year. You know, in my district, when we look at all of these individual ratepayers, single moms who are just trying to scrub something together for their kids. Right now it's Christmas time and they're barely able to pay the rent. Some able, you know, that new bill that's being passed to allow them to pay their water bill a little bit later than it was, than it used to be. There are a lot of folks that are taking advantage of that situation because they can't make ends meet and would love to have $168,000 put towards reducing their bill.
That's for sure.
We as an organization, this is not where we should be headed. This is not where we should be. I'm gonna have to, again, remind everyone, these are actual people and families that are being hurt by this and these needless investigations, these situations. You know, I hope we're ready to turn the corner on these things. Now we're pressing what, $200,000 in bills that we're about to deal with tonight. This is just, we're not even done yet. We're not even done. We're just starting. And I would encourage every director, let's think about the ratepayers. Every person at this dais, all the management team, because I haven't really heard about line staff being involved in any of these investigations yet. And this is not a happy moment. This doesn't make me feel good, but I guess it's the thing we have to do. And that's why I guess we're all sitting in this seat. But let's call for the motion, I guess.
Are you making the motion, brother?
Yeah.
All right, I'll second it.
Let's call for the motion to pay these bills.
Dr. Michael Taylor?
Yes.
Dr. Greg Young?
Abstain.
Dr. Clifford Young?
No.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes. Next up, number 22. What is the Kaufman Law Firm? What is their business? What are these invoices for?
This was also an investigation based on a complaint against Dr. Young.
Okay. Improve the investigation?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't here.
I'm asking legal.
The board.
Which board? And what was the vote?
The board that was in place before this board.
You're paying off your buddies. That's what you're doing.
I disagree.
I have a concern when I look at this bill, Mr. President. The thing which concerns me most about this bill is the timing of the bill. That this literally pops up right after the election, I believe, or right around the election, for work that supposedly happened last year. I mean, I have some serious questions on the timing of the delivery of this bill. I mean, my God, I'm just a humble county servant, you know, but if you owed me close to $95,000, you better believe I'd invoice you right away. So I would love for us, I'm just throwing this out there, if we could table this until Mr. Kaufman can come and explain the timing of this bill. Because I'm rather perplexed. I mean, you know, Dr. Young pointed out that initially he started work on this, just so you know, without board approval, and the board had to come back and approve it after they'd already started the investigation, which kind of throws a little bit of a dark cloud on it, if you ask me. But more importantly, if this all happened almost a year ago, why are we just now getting invoiced for it? I mean, I think that we need to ask those questions, and he's not here to answer it.
No,
These bills are part of our lawsuit.
No, well, number one, if they are part of the lawsuit, you can't participate and you need to leave. But
Legal counsel, you cannot give legal advice.
I'm not giving you that.
Okay. Let's respect the rules of decorum, legal counsel, board member. Let's just answer the gentleman's question.
Okay, the bills are from June 2019, May 2019.
Which one are you talking about?
No, it doesn't appear to.
It's October 2018, January 2018.
I'm looking at invoice number 10140. And that invoice has bill time from June of 2019, May, April, March, February.
Well, again, I would still like to have Mr. Kaufman here to explain why is he billing us like this, where he basically just keeps a running total and only bills us at the end of the year? How many lawyers do that? I mean, because you don't bill us like that.
This isn't my bill, so
I'm willing to.
I mean, to me, it's like I'm not disputing that he was a part of an investigation, but again, to me, it's like, why weren't we getting billed regularly, and why wasn't this bill presented to us a long time ago?
And Mr. Kaufman had called you regarding this investigation, so I mean, you're not questioning that he didn't do the work, right?
Again, I'm not disputing that he was involved in doing this investigation. But my question is, why are we getting the billing now? And why weren't we being billed at more proper intervals?
And legal counsel, just so you know, from what I'm looking at here, as you can see on the screen, it says January of 2018 for invoice 10140. So I know that's part of the question that Director Young had was, if it shows on our agenda from January of 2018, it seems a little far.
Okay, I think for some reason that's incorrect because the actual document says 10130. That is one. That's the one Dr. Young is referring to. 10140 is not from 2018. So it looks like the agenda is incorrect.
What I want to say is I do the question that great Director Young raised, I think is a very valid question. I don't think unless there's a need, there does appear to be, I don't know if it's typographical or otherwise, irregularity with the billing, and we would like the opportunity in closed session if necessary to be able to ask questions and then come back to be able to address this at the next meeting. So can we table this to, is there a motion to table this?
I would make the motion we table it until Mr. Kaufman can be present to answer these questions.
Okay. The next meeting, January 16th?
I'm sure that would be fine, and absolutely, I'm sure he'd be willing to come down and talk to you about that.
Okay. All right, so motion.
I made the motion.
Oh. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Secretary Escalera.
Dr. Michael Taylor?
Yes.
Dr. Greg Young?
Yes.
Dr. Clifford Young?
Yes.
Vice President Carl Crawford?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes. Okay. All right. Now, this is going to be pretty strenuous here. We're getting towards the end of the road. Reports limited to 5 minutes.
We got one more.
One more.
23.
Oh, okay. All right. I was seeing the promise now. Number 23. Approval of payments to Tafoya and Garcia LLP for professional service rendered in November 2019, invoice number 19-1011. Any questions? There is no questions. Is there a motion?
I'll second it.
What just happened? The motion. You guys both speaking at the same time.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All right. Secretary Escalera, call for the vote.
Director Dr. Michael Taylor?
Yes.
Dr. Greg Young?
Yes.
Director Dr. Clifford Young?
No.
Vice President Kyle Crowther?
Yes.
President Channing Hawkins?
Yes. Okay, all right, reports. They've limited to 5 minutes, even for directors at this point. I want to take the pleasure, at this point in time, going to talk about a few things. One, I'm going to give a directive to the general manager. I promise ratepayers transparency and accountability, and I'm keeping that promise to you all. There have been a number of questions regarding contracts that have been entered into by the general manager. I don't know the validity of all of those allegations, and we have not had the opportunity to do a full review of those. I know we've received some documents and information. However, we haven't had the opportunity to do a full review to determine the validity of any allegation. However, in lieu, despite that fact that we haven't had a full and complete comprehensive study of what has happened and how it's happened and the questions that individuals have, I am directing the general manager and all district managers refrain from signing any contracts within their authority until first they advise the president of the board about the contract you are contemplating and entering into, and provide a short, brief explanation in writing to the board president regarding what the contract is for and why the district needs to enter that contract. I know that will be onerous. I know that will be difficult. I know I'll probably be here every day at 7:30 a.m. But in order for us to get our house in order, and that's why I want to caution everyone, every board of director. I know we have a lot that we want to do with regard to our fiscal controls and getting our house in order. That's why as we contemplate moving forward, if we're going to do a RFP and figure out what our fiscal controls are, I'm begging you to get it done. We need to get it done as quickly as possible. But in the short term, I am asking for that. Now, what that means is that a short, brief statement. Everyone here is going to have to justify what they are spending it on. What that means is I'll be here every morning and we will work together in order to get this done. This is only a temporary measure. It is not a resolution. However, until we get a handle on where we are and what we're doing, and we get some new policies in place, this is where we're going with it. General Manager, do you understand the directive?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. This measure is for us to get a handle and for me to get educated on where we are, and also to be able to have a clear understanding of what all this, what the supervisor manager is doing, what the needs they have, and what we're going about, how we're going about our business. So that's all I want to say about that. The other issue that I wanted to give a directive about through the general manager or through the general manager in regard to the CFO, the Poon Group's implementation. Please, with all due speed, continue as best as you can with your team in order to implement the recommendations. I know we're going through a process of RFP at the current moment and figuring out what we're going to do. However, we need for you to continue that work and have an update for that work on January 16th. This is to the general manager. Here, and I want to thank Paul for digging this out of the crates wherever it was. This is a memo for human resources dated back in 2016. The general manager and the board of directors at the time, in May 25th, 2016, they commissioned a memorandum where they examined the HR practices. From what I understand, significant portions of this memoranda have not been implemented. This is a significant problem. What I am requesting, the gentleman isn't here, but I want to understand where we are with the implementation of this. Mr. Decker isn't here, but general manager, I want the members of that HR team that's left. We're going to figure out what we're going to do with HR, but to figure out what we can start doing to put some of these practices in place, at least figuring out some kind of game plan to put some of these practices in place. And so I would want something at that next HR committee meeting, because this is already, some of these issues have already been studied. They've already been known, just somehow we haven't implemented them. So I'm going to give you that direction. In addition, on January 9th, as many of you know, we're going to call this is really one of the big things by Vice President Crowther, has made it a point that on January 9th at 6 p.m., we're going to have the special meeting regarding the professional services contracts. And what that means is each and every professional services contract that we have, it is the expectation that we are going to have it presented. We're going to have the discussion about it. We're going to learn about it and the value that it's bringing to the organization. I think General Counsel already advised us whether or not we can take votes at that particular meeting. Can we take votes at that meeting? Yes. And if there are individuals who can be present as best as they can, or have reports prepared for their proof of work, we would definitely, request that they have that at that meeting so we can fully understand what they're doing and why they're doing, and then as a board, be able to give direction to the general manager as far as where we're moving forward. Outside of that, let the upcoming meeting reflect that the cancellation of the January 2nd, 2019 meeting, because our staff will just be coming back from vacation, and there are many already pre-planned approved vacation days. And our next meeting will be January 9th, which will be our special meeting, and then January 16th will be the regular meeting. That's it.
I would like to say briefly thank you to the audience that's here, that stuck around with us, and thank the audience at home that's watching. Most importantly, thank you to all your staff. Thank you for everything you guys do. Come out, do your hard work, do the day-to-day behind the scenes, and not being afraid to, have an opinion and have a voice when you're not happy with the way things are. I get it, I think Greg, I, and President Hawkins are the last of the people that work day jobs here on the board, but we all know how it is to be at your day job and, be unhappy with things and not be afraid to speak up. We're all humans. Great job. You too. And with that being said, I wish you guys all have a good Merry Christmas, spend time with your family, have a good, safe New Year's.
I just want to briefly just thank everybody for sticking it out for, I think, probably a record-breaking meeting at this point, a little marathon session we're having. I too want to echo my gratitude to the employees for being here and sticking it out. I know many of you probably have to be back here in a few hours. But I've always appreciated and have respected each and every one of you and the job that you do here. I know that as you know, Vice President Crowther has kind of alluded to, we know that there's some very unhappy feelings. I've spoken publicly on the letter which was issued to the press. I made my feelings abundantly clear that I support what you are asking for 100%. I think it's time for a change. But I just want to tell you that you all are my heroes. You have put your jobs into jeopardy by speaking out against what you feel is improper. You know, and really at this point here, regardless of whether, you know, allegations are true or not, we need effective leadership in this district, and you can't have effective leadership, I think, anymore in this current situation. So I thank you all for coming. I thank you all for your courage. I thank you all for sticking it out through this long meeting. And I do want to also echo to what Vice President Crowther said, just wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and look forward to continuing to work with each and every one of you. So, thank you.
Anybody else? Yes.
It's a Christmas, it's a season to have joy and fun and everything. But this past week, I've experienced something that I've never experienced as being a part of this district. I normally get calls and knock on my door and neighbors flagging me down to discuss water rates or leaks in their yards, but this past 10 days, the calls and messages that I have been getting have been very disturbing. And the letter from the employees, I appreciate that. I respect you and I will fight for you as much as I can. But there are two conclusions that I've reached through some conversations this week. One is that we need to seriously look and evaluate our general manager. And I'm making the request that the next regular meeting of the board, which I think is on the 16th, that be placed on a closed session agenda. That's a request as a board member. Second is that, and we went over some of this tonight, is that we need to review our general counsel. That needs to be reviewed. I'm asking that be put on the agenda for closed session on the 16th also. Let's begin to tackle some of these issues that we want to, as they say, hide under the rug. Let's deal with them. So as a director, and I right to request those be placed on those agenda for discussion. Again, like I've gotten a lot of calls in the past week, but there are people who cannot attend meetings like you attend or like I attend or the board members. They have something to say. Yesterday was at the farmer's market. Boy, I normally stay an hour and a half, but I was there for 3 hours yesterday. People have something to say about the district. It's a shame Joe is gone that we have to wait till the newspapers start publishing what we're doing. I'm learning more from the newspapers than I am sitting up here and learning a lot of things that's been hidden. So we need to start bringing them out, start dealing with them, and that's what I feel I was elected to do. So I'm requesting that those be put on the agenda. Any other items, we've dealt with some difficult, I think, President Hawkins, there are some difficult items were put on the agenda tonight. I think we should continue to deal with those. But again, thank the employees for coming out tonight. Thank you, and thank you. Keep your communication to the board up. Don't stop. And remind us if we're not doing things that you think need to be taken care of the district. We would not have a district. There would be no West Valley Water District if it wasn't for the employees who are hanging out here. So keep that in mind. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Enjoy your families and give a blessing to Jesus Christ. Thank you.
Dr. Taylor.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, bye.
This is a time of year to spend time with your family and your loved ones, Christmas, and then ring in the new year and hope things are better than next year. So I wish you all well. I just want to say, Channing, you did a great job tonight. Really appreciate it. You kept everything civilized. It's been a long time coming, and I can probably safely say that the directors up here appreciate the fact that for a new president, you've conducted the meetings extremely well, and I, for one, am happy about that. And I just want to thank our executive staff that is here tonight for the work that you do, the hard work that you do every day. I know that we're understaffed. I'd like to thank legal counsel for all the legal advice you provided this year to help us get through some of the more difficult things we've had to deal with. And with that, I'd like to wish everybody sitting up here on the dais Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Just one quick thing. I didn't wish everybody Happy Christmas, so I'm feeling bad. Merry Christmas. See, it's getting late. See, these guys are used to this. I'm like training for a marathon being up here. But Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate during this holiday season. One last thing about the employees. I think we had this conversation at our all hands meeting. And I know that I speak for the directors when I say, that in our organization, we don't want retaliation. There will be zero tolerance for retaliation. We as a board sincerely appreciate that, and we respect that, and we want to make sure that just because you spoke out, that it doesn't mean that your job should be in jeopardy or you should be facing any loss of a term and condition of your employment or discipline or anything else. And I know I'm speaking for all my colleagues when I say that. Now, we're one big family, and everybody in the family don't always see eye to eye. But hopefully, as we have a few days off after this, I think we're going to have about how many days, Chris? Secretary Escalera, how many days we're going to have off?
We'll be returning back on January 2nd.
Right. We're going to have a good time. Everybody, spend the time with your family and your loved ones. Try to not think about West Valley. Some of you guys are going to still be working, but think about your family, think about your loved ones, think about all the things that are good in your life, that are going well right now, the blessings that you have, and that's it.
President Hawkins, there was one last thing. During discussion of item number 11, you were going to give direction to the GM regarding the request for qualification during the comment section.
Yes, the item number 11, yes, we want to give you direction to put out a request for qualifications and to bring back that request, after you do the request for qualifications, to bring back firms for the board to deliberate as far as who we're going to go with for the hiring of the operations and engineering general manager. The assistant general manager for operations and engineering.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Yes. Anything else, Secretary? Ms. Lara? Oh, report out. General manager and who's first? General manager, legal counsel.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I would like to report out of closed session that we didn't take any final action in closed session, so there's nothing further to report out. And after you're finished with the general manager, and I would like to have a moment to make a comment.
Okay. General manager and staff?
No comments.
Okay.
I just had one quick comment. I just wanted to thank the staff, IT and Public Affairs and myself for putting together the live streaming. So I just want to thank my staff.
Actually, I want to give kudos to the Public Affairs and Jeremiah and Nasim and the rest of the staff for responding very quickly to get us up and operational to be able to live stream our meetings and begin recording them. That was an IT, because without IT, it just wouldn't happen. Especially IT. And we didn't even have to get a consultant to do it. We did it all in-house. We might have paid for a few of those.
Just tripods.
But everything else we had in-house. It's just amazing what our staff can do with a little ingenuity and desire. So thank you all. Again, I do want to commend you for that. And it looks very professional back there, I must add. Legal counsel to make a statement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very quickly. As everyone knows, Dr. Young is suing me. Dr. Young is suing me for over $600,000, and he has a financial interest in that litigation. And he's conflicted. When you're suing somebody and you're asking them for money, you can't do the things that he's doing on the dais. By voting on me, voting on my bills, or making other motions related to me. And I need to put that on the record because it's improper. And I think that the board needs to make a determination about that, whether or not he's conflicted. I mean, he already recused himself today and said he couldn't vote on my stuff, but yet here he is making motions about me and about my bills. So I want to put that on the record that I think it's improper and illegal, and I think the board needs to address that.
We are, thank you, and we'll take that under advisement. Okay, motion to adjourn.
So, I want to know this. Let me keep this.
You need help carry stuff up the back of Moscow White?
Give me this.
Oh, you're trying. He's trying. I mean, he's going to need